Excuse me.
Wakey, nutbag.
Good morning, everybody. This is Omega Guy. OMG. It's another day. I'm here on time this time and be on time this time. So we got Chi Chi visiting again today. I haven't medicated yet. I have got my coffee.
Race on what?
Okay, so based on the news we share here every day. I honestly should probably have these videos on screen. I'm weird. I'll listen to them. A little bit longer segment than normal due to not making yesterday's run.
If you zoom in on this photo of Donald Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron, take a look at his hand right there. A huge bruise on it. Tell me what you think that is, by the way. What a strange meeting between French President Emmanuel Macron and Donald Trump yesterday. You had Donald Trump continuing to talk about, he's searching through Fort Knox to try to find, magical gold, as French President Emmanuel Macron was, trying to be hey, we need to support Ukraine, we need to support NATO. Here, watch what happened.
We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there. Because maybe somebody stole the gold. Tons of gold.
By the way, there was just all of these weird handshakes going on. I think French President Emmanuel Macron was trying to just shake the crap out of Donald Trump's hand and fact check Donald Trump to his face and just humiliate him with the stronger handshakes. And I'll tell you my theory
sounds about
what's
right.
going on, but just what's even happening here? Watch this.
That was exactly what we...
You want to know what's happening? The French president knows his shit. That's actually kind of amusing. It's you want to play power games, Donald Trump? Okay, fine. We'll play power games. I might just do that. I might make it to where we have stream readers running for our morning news segment, giving us all something to do other than just focusing on the negative of the news.
That is the most beautiful language. I have no idea what he's saying, but that is the most elegant, beautiful language. Go ahead, please.
And then over here they do it again. Play this clip.
The joint news conference wraps up there with President Trump and the French President Emmanuel Macron.
Now, here things get serious, and French President Emmanuel Macron fact checks Donald Trump right to Donald Trump's face, where Trump's trying to lie and say that Europe was not, sufficiently funding Ukraine, and, Trump saying all the pro-Putin stuff. And then this is where, after shaking the crap out of Trump's hand and maybe even causing those bruises, French President Emmanuel Macron's like, nope, you are wrong. Let me explain to you. Watch how tough he is right here. Play this clip.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total efforts, and it was through, like the US, loans, guaranteeing grants, and we provided the real money. To be clear, we have 230 billion.
So let me tell you what I think was going on. So yesterday marked the 3-year anniversary of Russia's unlawful invasion of Ukraine. And so I think the strategy by Canada, Europe, Australia, and elsewhere was kind of two-pronged. One, get the democracies throughout the world, other than the United States, which is basically abandoned democracies throughout the world, get the leaders to go to Ukraine, to be in Kyiv, and to be with President Zelensky, show support, show that they are increasing their aid. Then sent French President Emmanuel Macron to the White House for a state visit. And by the way, it wasn't even like an official state visit. I think like Macron almost went through the front door as well, and kind of just keep Trump distracted. And when Trump tries to say crazy stuff and pro-Putin stuff, fact check him in front of the world media as well, and then send a message to Putin. I think it was brilliant also because I think it derailed a lot of what Trump's plans were for the day as well. Because the way yesterday started,
I'm going to be straight with you. Every time something like that happens with Trump, it does derail his shit. And you can see it in him afterward. Sadly, I am going to have to stop the stream for a bit to go down to the bathroom. Not necessarily stop the stream, but stop inputting information. I technically could let the videos play without me here, but I don't know, I might do that. I'll keep a certain dog from barking.
Remember, was when Donald Trump basically joined the axis of evil with Russia, Belarus, Hungary, and North Korea to oppose the United Nations resolution condemning Russia's unlawful invasion of Ukraine. What an FU to our allies in Ukraine, our ally, for Donald Trump to do that, to oppose the United Nations resolution saying Russia was the aggressor. Literally joining yourself with the axis of evil. Right. But then I think Europe was like, get Macron there, distract Trump, make some power moves over there, and then we'll be in Ukraine, and we'll show support, and we'll show Putin what we're going to basically do with European solidarity, joined with Canada, Australia, and others. That's what I think was going on. Then throughout the day yesterday, Donald Trump, with his bruised hand, was posting just weird crap like this, like photos of himself with Elon Musk, and articles from right-wing propaganda rags like the Daily Caller saying Trump's first month of shock and awe has delivered lightning. What it's delivered is low approval ratings for Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans who are just getting obliterated and pummeled in polling. I think Democrats it's up by 13-14% in generic polls. If a congressional election was to be held, Trump's approval is plummeting. Elon Musk's approval is literally in Doge toilet bowls at this point. People are pissed. They're taking away Medicaid. They're making all of these cuts to important government programs that people rely on. Elon Musk and his crew of 19 to 25-year-olds are taking your data, your medical records, your social security information, your tax records, medical files. What the hell's going on? And by the way, here's a tracker. Trump, 35 days in office. As of yesterday, 9 days golfing. But other days he was at the Super Bowl, and he was driving around in the NASCAR track at the Daytona 500 in his motorcade. So he spent about 25% of his presidency thus far golfing. And then, by the way, yesterday, because they try to project how big and tough they are. So Trump has his United States attorney from the DOJ. The DOJ is just saying that they're Trump's personal attorney, not the attorneys for the United States of America, Trump's personal attorneys. This is Edward Martin. He's the MAGA United States attorney. This is the guy who's been threatening all of the Democratic Congress members, saying that he's going to, he's criminally investigating them for calling for protests and things. Here's what he goes. He goes, as President Trump's lawyer, we are proud to fight to protect his leadership as our president, and we are vigilant in standing against entities like the Associated Press that refuse to put America first because they're calling the Gulf of Mexico and not the Gulf of America. This is like a psychopathic, deranged authoritarian regime we have here in the United States. I shouldn't laugh because these people are doing things that are so dastardly and disgusting, but sometimes they're so cartoonishly villainous that you just have to be if I read this in a Hollywood script, I would be it's not believable. Tone it down a little bit. As we explained on our Midas Touch account, you don't represent Donald Trump. You represent the United States. This statement is fundamentally anti-American, and not only is the statement absurd and wrong, but it's also grammatically correct. You don't know how to spell Trump's. But in the press room, where they're banning the Associated Press right now, this is from the official White House account. It says, victory. They're declaring victory. Another horrible day on the market yesterday with the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ went down over 1% yesterday. I don't know about you, but my 401k is now in the gutter under former President Biden. It was soaring, and already as Donald Trump, it's volatile and not doing well. Prices are surging right now. Inflation is back, and it's worse than almost ever, and it's heading in the worst direction. Trump's tariff threats are screwing with businesses. We're seeing federal workers laid off. There was another plane incident yesterday in Atlanta where people had to be evacuated, where a plane, was filled with smoke. Egg prices are at record highs. Housing is less affordable. I could go on and on and on, but you get the point. 80% of Americans view the economy as being in the gutter right now, but they're declaring victory in the White House. Victory because they named Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America on Google, like literally the dumbest stuff. So, by the way, Trump is asked by reporters yesterday, can you explain the rationale of why the U.S. voted against the UN resolution that Ukraine proposed? Here, play this clip.
Can you explain the rationale, sir,
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you explain the rationale of having the U.S. vote against the UN resolutions that Ukraine proposed and also the U.S. proposed?
I would rather not explain it now, but it's sort of self-evident.
By the way, look at this Associated Press photo right here. Trump expresses hope Russia's war in Ukraine is nearing an endgame as he meets with France's Macron. But take a look here. When you actually read the article, it says, on Monday, Putin said that he had not discussed resolving the conflict in Ukraine in detail with Trump, and nor did Russian and American negotiating teams when they met in Saudi Arabia last week. So Putin's saying when the Saudi Arabia meeting took place, they didn't even really discuss Ukraine and resolutions that much. Do you get what Putin's saying here? The whole point of that meeting was not to do with Ukraine. Do you get what's happening here? It was to make the United States normalize relations with Russia, to de-isolate Russia from the international community. That would help Russia's market so Russia could buy time, so it can kind of refuel, make more money to further its war against Ukraine. And what Russia's trying to do is establish this new world order where it has an alliance with the United States, pits the United States against Europe. That's what Putin was doing at the meeting. I don't know what the hell Marco Rubio was doing and all of these people, the Trump regime envoys, other than enabling Putin's plan, which was not about resolving anything in Ukraine. Let me be clear about that. Donald Trump posting more photos with Elon Musk. I mean, it's some bizarre stuff. I mean, this is Trump, just constant posts of him and Elon. Donald Trump sending emails over and over again to his supporters, telling people that they're invited to Mar-a-Lago. And here Trump's bragging that it was the...
Don't know if you need Robitussin for your cough, Advil for your aches, or Theraflu for, well, all the things. Good news. You can choose when they get here. Get relief delivered right to your door with DoorDash.
I have to do a lot of reading for my job, emails, contracts, PDFs. To stay focused, I use a free Google Chrome extension called Speechify. It's like the voice of the internet.
Speechify can read to you in the highest quality digital voices available anywhere.
I get a play button everywhere. So if I click play on email, it reads. If I click play on PDF, it reads. If I have physical books, I take a picture, it reads.
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email from your boss that you have to finish before the big meeting starts in 10 minutes. Or you're cramming for an exam the night before, but can't bear to keep your eyes open to read one more textbook chapter. Or you're reviewing a dense legal document that could change your life forever. Or you're proofreading your thesis one last time before you submit it to make sure there aren't any errors. No matter what you have to read, we could all use a second pair of eyes to help us retain information and put our best foot forward. Enter Speechify, a reading assistant powered by artificial intelligence and deep learning, and designed consciously for students and working professionals who want to get more done. Speechify does the reading for you. so you will spend less energy reading and more energy comprehending. Choose your listen.
And here Trump's bragging that it was the best month in the history of the presidency. Play this clip.
And we've made a great deal of progress. People are saying it was the best month for a president in our country's history. I hope that's right, but I feel it's right. We've done a lot of things in a very short period of time, 4 weeks.
Then you have over here MAGA Mike Johnson. Speaking yesterday saying that Elon's great. Elon's cracked the code. Everybody loves what he's doing.
Okay.
Play this clip.
And the Congress, who have oversight. The problem is, for decades, as we know, we haven't been able to do that job well. Because even though we requested the data, requested the insight, it was hidden. How many of you know the bureaucracy was not forthcoming, right? They're not transparent. That's the whole point. That's the problem. That's the deep state that we talk about. So,
no, that is not the whole point. As a matter of fact, there are many things that are shared and then taken back by other parts of the government to stop them from being shared.
they were hiding from Congress. We didn't know that USAID was funding drag shows in Peru or whatever, transgender operas in Colombia or whatever,
Stop it. Where's that other mouse? Good one. There it is.
MAGA Mike Johnson speaking yesterday saying that Elon's great, Elon's cracked the code, everybody loves what he's doing. Play this clip.
And Congress, who can have oversight. The problem is, for decades, as we know, we haven't been able to do that job well. Because even though we requested the data, requested the insight, it was hidden. How many of you know the bureaucracy was not forthcoming, right? They're not transparent. That's the whole point. That's the problem. That's the deep state that we talk about. So, they were hiding from Congress. We didn't know that USAID was funding drag shows in Peru or whatever, transgender operas in Colombia or whatever, It's madness. But Elon has cracked the code. He is now inside the agencies. He's created these algorithms that are constantly crawling through the data. He told me in his office the data is high. We're going to be able to get the information. We're going to be able to transform the way the federal government works at the end of this. And that is a very exciting prospect. It is truly a revolutionary moment for the nation.
And then here's Laura Ingraham from Fox, and she calls federal workers lazy and says that they don't have real jobs and they're just trying to gin up sympathy and they don't really have real jobs. Here, play this clip.
Now, how do you resurrect your party, though? By protecting red tape and the bureaucracy. By trying to gin up sympathy for federal workers who need to get real jobs in the real world like most of America.
Stop it.
Ever heard of it?
Listen now.
Now, do Democrats really think that Americans will stop liking Trump because he fires these people?
I mean, it's some despicable stuff right there. One other thing I'd like to point out, which is the Office of Special Counsel, which is the agency responsible for investigating illegal actions taken against federal employees, has made a ruling that the firing of the probationary employees, they focused on 6 of them, but it'll apply probably to all the probationary employees, was an unlawful termination because he didn't go through the appropriate steps to terminate the probationary employees, all those federal workers who were fired. So now the question is, will those federal employees be reinstated if this, ruling goes into effect and kind of gets authorized? Will now back pay be owed and other damages be owed to these federal employees who were unjustly terminated? We'll keep you posted every step of the way while all this is going on. Elon.
Saying federal employees don't work an actual job?
For a second there, I kind of got the sense, this is just a dream, this isn't real, but then I snapped back.
Right? Fucking right.
Hey there, by the way.
Hello, and welcome in. Is that stirrup? Am I reading that right?
It's kind of like Sniss plus Strop.
Okay. It looks like stirrup. I don't know how much you've been around horses to know what a stirrup is or not. So.
Not the first time I've gotten the ha-ha.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, no. I was in the same place. For a moment I thought I was dreaming fucking snapback. It's like, fuck. Yeah, very much so. But welcome. This is my morning news segment. I play different cuts from the Midas Touch Network and comment. Pretty basic. Depending on what's requested, I typically will even throw the videos up so y'all can literally watch them instead of just listen. But that's what I'm doing as well, is listening. So it's kind of up to y'all.
I recognize that play that clip.
Yep. Ben Mycelis. Yeah, these guys have a pretty damn good little independent news network going on that actually gives you quite good information, and I'm thankful for it. Because otherwise, I would be spending a lot more time asking out and about in the world.
Yeah, it seemed like a nice channel.
Personally, out of all the people in the group, I prefer Anthony Davis over on 5 Minute News. The English chap.
Musk is posting that it's time to fire fake judges. A lot of judges are ruling against Musk and Trump, so now he's calling to fire the judges. And Elon.
And one point this group really has that really does kind of help set it apart is Michael Cohen, Trump's old right-hand man lawyer, is part of this group. And told his story about what happened with Trump a few times. So, yeah, let's just say I can't blame Michael for being pissed. Become legit first political prisoner, and then having your sentence set up to where you're free to go, grab you again and put you right back in the hole. Now, I can understand why he's pissed. I don't blame him. His rights were violated in so many ways, it's stupid. I mean, I was always listening to law and freaking physics beforehand. I found these guys and it's like, sweet, something I can actually work with, understand, and trust. Because those who are not either directly in politics by being lawyers are either retired lawyers and teaching now, or yeah, it's a pretty good group with definitely its diversity, and I'd love to see it.
And Musk, who is what, a fake cabinet member? I don't even know what his role is. That no one's been able to articulate.
Shit, they even had the Jan 6th granny who was refusing Trump's pardon. She's even come on the show and chit-chatted with us. It's been fucking awesome. That gal's awesome.
Refusing Trump's pardon.
Oh yeah. It's probably not getting around too much on mainstream media, but there is one of the Jan 6ers who was known as MAGA Granny, has actually refused pardon. She's doing everything she can. She doesn't fucking want it. She did wrong, and she knows it. And she wants to serve out the rest of her sentence, even though it's just a couple months. She's like, no, I fucked up. what I did was fucking wrong.
Damn, got to respect that.
Damn right. I sure as fuck do. Because I'm one of the people that would do the same thing. It's like, no, I fucked up. Don't pardon me. I did do wrong. I'm supposed to be doing this. And that's why I do something wrong
People,
here.
the real compass of what's right and wrong is one of the few things that gives me hope in humanity.
Agreed. Very much so agreed. And then those that are willing to actually own up to it when they've done wrong. And accept what their punishment is. That is icing on the cake for that. I want the cherry on top of the sundae, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. During this segment, we typically will end up talking about psychology quite a bit. Because, well, it's part of everyday life. Especially when you're talking about groups of people.
Ooh, interesting.
Usually I try to keep it more applicable to what's being talked about, instead of just randomly pushing out psychological facts. I can handle that. Doesn't mean you guys can. It always seems to be a little bit easier for everyone, including myself, if it's somewhat organized and relatable.
Did you major in anxiety or anti-ing like that? OMB. Sorry, haha, not anxiety. PH psychology.
No.
I meant.
You're good. No, I'm an at-home study.
LUL.
Or as they would call us, armchair psychologists. But at the same time, I also am continually talking to PhD psychologists and communicating with them. I have several that follow me on Quora and X. I hate calling it X. I listen to heads of the psychology field, behavioral psychology, more particularly aggression, Dr. Bandy Lee. And she knows her shit. There is no question there. I can't ever look at her and go, yeah, I don't know about that. Everything I've seen and studied says she's right. And I won't fight somebody I know is right. But she actually has a 5 or 6 episode segment with Anthony, where she's speaking of Trump, his condition, and the way it's affecting the rest of the world. People in America first off, then the rest of the world. But yeah, it's not small beans. I can't put this in a serious enough tone to actually get the message across to people. What's going on right now, if not stopped, is world ending.
I'm pretty into psychology myself. Just read your site info mentioning PTSD and stuff, and trauma is a, albeit not a light one, interesting subject.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I've had quite the life. I've had a few psychs tell me they don't understand how I am how I am. It's like, welcome to the club! Before I was 16, my mother quite literally attempted to kill me 5 times. That's just a little bit of a powdered sugar dusting.
No way. Seriously.
Yes. I have been through a lot. I do mean a lot. I really should be some bitter, angry, pissed off piece of shit. But when...
No doubt sounds like it.
When I saw that in my bloodline from all my fucking blood family, I was like, yeah, no, you're fucking miserable. I don't want to be miserable. I deal with enough things that try to make me miserable already. I don't need to have my life making it worse. Fuck that shit. And then I also didn't appreciate the way a lot of my blood family treated other people. It was very much a negative in my book. And they wouldn't exactly try to tell me it was okay, but they didn't say it was bad either. And I'm just like, yeah, I see you motherfuckers. I see right fucking through you. You know, I've had a pretty good understanding of psychology since a young age. I went through enough trauma that come season 1, episode 2 of The Apprentice, I knew what Trump was. And I turned to my great-grandmother and I looked her dead in the eyes and I said, that man is slime. And that's an insult to slime. My great-grandmother, surprised a little bit, looks back me back in the face and goes, you're right. That is a snake in the grass. You don't ever trust a man like that.
Yeah, I didn't need more than a minute to know 2 TBH.
Right? But I was young as shit, didn't know anything about psychology. Didn't know what psychology was even called. My mind wants to say I was 7, but I think I was closer to 10. I don't exactly remember time frames too well. I have time blindness. Kinda sucks. At other points, it can be kind of useful.
It's odd. I met so many people in the USA when I was there that had a loot of heavy baggage. Kind of made me think that we don't go through shit here in Sweden.
America does a very good job of making it seem like it's on the up and up. It's the classic looks better on paper family. If you've got a little bit of my understanding of psychology, you probably understand exactly what I'm saying with that. Nice and pretty on the outside. Yeah. Yeah, God, there's so many things I could actually sit here and go over. Having somebody in the room that actually understands psychology, like CRT or critical race theory, I get where it's coming from, but it's not a complete understanding of it either. The way the justice system is designed here in America, it quite literally is against anyone poor. If you're poor, you've got really a bad chance of getting justice. Civil rights, whatnot, but unless you can find a good pro bono or what's the word? Come on, they just said it yesterday. Midas. The scenario where the lawyer doesn't get paid unless you win. There's an actual word for it, I'm just trying to remember what it is. Anyways. That's really the only way that if you're poor, you're going to win a case here.
I remember smoking at a guy's house at Fenwa, and we just stumbled into a conversation of him telling me he got shot in the face and showed me pictures of x-rays, etc. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that kind of shit can happen fairly easily. A lot of people here in America don't realize just how dangerous guns are. They don't have proper weapon respect or tool respect. I will always say guns are a tool, not a weapon. But like any tool, it can be used wrong. And some tools, when you use them wrong, have fucking disastrous consequences. That's guns. I don't see why people don't get this. They don't go around playing with TNT too often.
Showing me his revolvers, shotgun, tons of ammo and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so odd to me.
I've very much heard that, and honestly, even though I'm American, it's kind of odd for me. It makes me a little uncomfortable. Something about being in a room with that many firearms does not make me comfortable. Like I said, I do have experience with firearms. That would be like having a room of hammers and nails and showing them off. So yeah, I can completely understand why that'd be odd.
I saw semi-automatic rifles at Walmart there. It's like some X, a t-shirt, and a fucking assault rifle.
Yeah, basically. And it depends on which state you're in. Oregon, at least here towards the coast, we don't have that. You can get hunting rifles and sidearms, but not semi-automatic. Well, they sell them as sportsman rifles.
Alright. Yeah, I heard Arizona is one of the most lenient when it comes to gun laws.
Arizona, Texas. Yeah, Texas is kind of ridiculous about it. They may have gotten better, though. I need to speak to some of my friends from Texas and see if that's gotten a little bit better. It used to be that in Texas, these motherfuckers would be going around with the ARs on their back, going about the day. Like they was some kind of fucking soldier. And that's why you'll hear jokes from the American left, like Meal Team 6. Because these are usually not the skinny guys. It's usually heftier dudes. And I don't mean muscle.
Neo Team 6.
No, meal, as in... Yeah, that's one of the running jokes about the right and left, especially that particular group of people. The sad part is even though these guys are bigger, half of them will still be knocked on their ass. Because they don't actually know how to utilize these tools. They'll go to the fucking shooting range and have fun. They'll shoot at explosives. And that's why I don't get why they don't get the whole you're carrying around explosives on your back. It's just worse. Instead of it being a grenade, it's got a single piece of shrapnel that goes in one direction and does a lot more damage in a direct line. You're basically carrying around miniature TNTs that have been retooled for a different purpose. But then again, apparently I'm smarter than more than a small amount of my country. Or at least so I am continually told. And there's a few things I actually have to remind myself that it's not.
I got to shoot some guns with the same guy I mentioned earlier. And hold on a 12-gauge shotgun, even though it was exhilarating. I was like, Jesus effing monkey balls. This thing is actually designed to kill someone.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. These tools are designed to kill. That is their function. And that's why I say they are a tool. They can be misused. The proper reason for using a gun is protecting of livestock or hunting for needs. I will still say that going to a shooting range and practicing is just making sure that you're using your tools properly and making sure you can use them properly still. I mean, events happen where a firearm is not going to be so easy to fire anymore. Shoulder dislocations, losing an arm, so on and so forth. Shit happens to where it's not always something that can be done. And that's the point where most people end up going to sidearms or pistols.
Oh yeah, did you hear that Sweden got inspired by the USA recently?
No, I don't like the sound of that. Definitely elaborate.
School shooting, 11 dead.
Fuck!
First in Sweden history.
No, I didn't hear about it. God damn it! We need to figure out a way to get Dr. Bandy Lee's information out there. Fuck!
Yeah, it was quite a shock to all of Sweden. This
I don't doubt
doesn't
it.
happen here.
I know. Yeah, as soon as you said inspired, it's like, I don't like that. Fuck! God damn it. Sorry, I'm going to be cussing about that for a little bit. I
That's
am
quite telling.
really not
Yeah,
happy about
way,
that.
LUL. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
sucks.
it is. It is rather telling. Like I said, I understand how the shit works on a psychological level. And, yeah, I was hoping it wouldn't spread that way. Fuck. Having the neo-Nazis trying to step up in Germany was bad enough. Well, and the UK. God damn it. Yes, I do feel some
I'm
hurt.
hoping it's a one thing. That shooting in Utøya in Norway 13 years ago was a similar sort of doesn't happen here and haven't happened since.
Yeah, it's true. And I will very much agree with you that I as well hope it's a one-off kind of thing.
And that was 77 people killed.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
But was that a school shooting? Because there is a bit of difference in the psychology that goes into them. Yeah, let me put it this way. I've delved enough into it all to be able to have the ability to profile something.
New not school shooting. It was aimed at a political group having a thing at an island, with Toyo as the name of the island.
Okay, so that's another whole other set. Yeah, I could definitely see why that would have been a one-off. Comparatively?
The guy that did it had a whole manifesto and had pretty extreme patterns of view.
I wouldn't be surprised there. Do we have any information on the school shooting? Who the shooter was, or any manifesto of any flavor? You probably can't hear me yet.
Not that I know of, actually.
Okay, you can't hear me. Sweet. Damn. Because that would actually be able to give me more information. Alright, fair enough. Well, I can
Don't
probably look
broadcast
it
the
up.
identities them readily.
Oh, of course. No, that's why I was not so much meaning the identity, just more of a, trying to get a behavioral background. Best way to kind of say is I'm an in-training, unpaid behavioral analyst. If anything was my specialty, it would be that. A lot of my focus tends to be on physical actions or decisions taken in rash or quick succession.
The guy that did it was seemingly normal, sweet same age as me.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be a story about him coming soon.
Probably. Yeah. A good example of some of the stuff I've done. Here on YouTube, there is the interview of Vladimir Putin with Tucker Carlson. When it first came out and I watched it, I noted in the video chat.
Yeah, I heard some of that.
I noted in the video chat that the chat for the video, that Putin wasn't behaving normally. And I pointed out a couple of different factors, and of course everyone there, oh, you don't know Putin, blah, 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 you're wrong. Da, 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 da. Yeah, come to find out, by Putin's actions now, I was right. And once again, being right about something kind of fucking sucks.
I'm not following.
As to where Putin's normal behavior puts forth or exposes this confidence or I think I'm better than you, or some kind of higher authority than you. in that interview, it was points where he was being asked about America and what would be best for America in the future. His demeanor changed, and his body language became a lot more guarded and protected, as well as what actually looked like some pretty damn real honesty. And I pointed it out. I'm like, this is not normal Putin. I think he might actually be being honest for once in his fucking life. But he had said that Biden would be the best choice for America. Of course, a lot of people went, "Oh, Putin's doing the reverse psychology shit again." I'm looking at that and I'm just like, no, he's not. Of course, I continue to get braved in the comments. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know Putin. It's like, I don't know Putin.
You sent the new gold card.
What?
Saw asterisk.
The new gold card?
You saw the new gold card?
What? Considering, probably not.
Trump said $5 million for citizenship by investment. He said that 18 hours ago.
Oh shit. I didn't end up getting to the news yesterday at all. I'm quite literally catching up with you guys here now. So,
What?
He's been leading up to that for a little bit.
I'm dead ass search.
I know. I'm not having trouble believing you because I have been seeing it
gold
stack
card.
up.
What does that mean?
It's an immigration visa. For sale.
There was already a program, it was $800,000, but he made it $5 million plus, isn't it crazy?
Oh yeah.
Wait, so you just bribe USA to get citizenship? Like an open deal? Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and you want to talk about having not controlled borders?
You invest and get a green card and get citizenship in a year without an interview.
Well, just open the door for the terrorists and roll out the red carpet, Trump. Why fucking don't you?
5. I hate money, lol.
Agreed.
$5 million ain't even a lot with citizenship. You could sponsor 10 family members, so the cartel is gonna abuse it.
Like I said, why don't you just welcome terrorism, Trump? Why don't you just roll out the fucking red carpet? Human traffickers are going to be going nuts.
I mean, 5M is a lot, but for the cartel it isn't, you know what I mean.
I do. That's why I said what I did. I know full well what I say. I do not have a question about it.
Putin can get anyone in there easy peasy. but kinda feels like Putin would just ask nicely instead.
Putin wouldn't even have to ask nicely. Putin would go, I'm sending this person your way. Bring him in. And Trump will, yes, I'm asking. I have anchors to keep me here. I have anchors to keep me here for a reason. I know too fucking much to be over in any area around Elon or Trump. I will end up in a federal prison, in which I will end up driving guards insane, as well as other assailants around me. I have anchors to keep me here. That's probably the most telling thing you've seen about me all day.
Care to elaborate, if you want to OFC?
Part of the reason why I can't really argue that I am intelligent, I have gathered so much information over the years in so many different topics and learned how to apply it to my everyday life that I am dangerous. Both figuratively and literally. I have been trained to be able to kill somebody with my bare hands or any fucking thing around me. Literally anything. I know how to fuck somebody in the head so bad it's ridiculous.
Trained? How so?
My uncle, one of the few members of my blood family that was worth a damn, one of my uncles joined the Peace Corps. While he was in the Peace Corps, he was sent over to Tibet. He ended up making the climb and going to see the monks. And getting trained himself. And he was told, if he came across somebody that needed it, to do so. Well, he saw I needed it. So I got trained in both the spiritual and physical aspects of the Tibetan fighting style. Which is not a small feat. Never mind the fact that I got the fucking CQC training from the American Army. Whoopty shit. No offense to...
What was the spiritual stuff about? If you don't mind me asking.
Creating inner balance and being able to find peace in, well, chaos. Finding ways to keep yourself from going to that chaos and losing your inner peace and balance. And that's kind of where the I have anchors to keep me here comes from. A reminder.
I like Eastern traditions. Meditation is close at heart to myself.
I haven't meditated for a while, but it was a very common thing for me after receiving the training. It really, really was. I actually kind of became fairly well known in my town for doing so. I would get to school a little bit earlier and find a good spot to post up and just go full lotus and meditate. People would come into school and see me just sitting there meditating. Eventually they started trying to mess with me, and, well, my reaction and senses had already been heightened by that. So I was catching feet and whatnot without ever opening my eyes and surprising the shit out of them.
Did you go deeper into ideas of transcendence and that kind of stuff?
That's where I had a little bit more issue. I don't have the ability to astral project.
Don't have the ability to what? Sorry, didn't hear.
It's my speech. It's okay. Astral project. I cannot separate my spiritual form from my physical form. But that's probably because my body's inhabited by more than one spirit.
Ooh, right.
There is the one that you're talking to now, and then there is a rage spirit within me. His name is Zuko. He chose it. Most of the time when he pipes up, you'll typically hear me say, shut up there. When he pipes up, it's a voice that basically comes from the back of my head, and it's usually some smart-ass remark. Or putting forth a little bit of the information he has, which his focus is pain. His main desire is to harm. But he is begot of rage, so kind of makes sense. And very much have him closed off and isolated from being able to do anything. With the help of meditation and guidance, I've been able to get a nice, at least comfortable situation with him to where he doesn't sit there and try to fucking take over in bouts of anger. Unless I actually need him to fucking take over, he doesn't. But he retained a good portion of that fighting knowledge. He didn't retain the spiritual side. So basically, it's up to me to create the balance. Which can be difficult at times.
I feel there are several integrations of transcendence. There is also the more simple, you are not your thoughts, emotions or body, not necessarily even talking about astral planes or the likes.
Okay, then in that light, then I would be one that sits in this transcendent state. Going by that expression. Because quite literally the consciousness you talk to right now is separate from my body and, well, Zuko. It really does suck, because don't always know when I'm hungry, don't always know when I'm thirsty, shit like that. I'll sit here and get so hungry that I'll either start to get nauseous or shaky or anxiety ridden. And it's because I need to eat. And it's kind of weird. That's why I say I'm not exactly completely balanced. My body is rather messed up from days before.
Gotcha. Interesting.
My younger days, I used to do parkour, but have never had the ability to do a front roll. Even in karate, I couldn't roll forward. There was no rolling out a landing for me. When I came down from 2 stories, I had to take all force. There's only so many times you take a 2-story superhero landing and go, yeah, let's do that again. Yeah, 3 times was definitely about enough for me. That last time my knees were screaming so fucking bad, I wanted to fall over. But at the same time, I needed to get moving because I needed to get to class.
Kinda sounds like your back isn't too happy either.
No, my back's not great either. But oddly enough, even though my knees, ankles, hips, and back are a bit messed up, put me on a bicycle, watch out. Freaking, a bicycle for me is damn near a mobility assistance device. Even on a freaking Schwinn 2006 Schwinn Stingray Cruiser, I could have that thing topped out at 22 before I made it across a 4-lane intersection. As in 22 miles an hour. I don't remember what the conversion was. I think that, isn't that about 46 kph? Sorry. No, yeah, kph.
.46 kilometers per hour is pretty quick.
Especially on a single gear bicycle. When I had a 21 speed mountain bike, I was doing I was doing 55 miles an hour. I was actually getting pulled over going 55 miles an hour. I got pulled over.
Wait, 55 miles per hour?
Yes. When I got going, I fucking got going. If I had had more gearing, I probably would have gotten going faster. Again, I was topping out the gear system.
That's like 88 kilometers per hour.
Yes. Very much so. And I got pulled over doing it more than 3 times. 2 of the times were in a school zone during school hours. I was horrible about it. If there was a speed trap, I was like, woo! How fast can I go? And the cops hated it. They loved it, but they hated it. Because they never were really able to do anything. There is kind of a unspoken rule over here. If you can make a cop laugh, 9 times out of 10, they're going to walk away. And you'll get off without a ticket. Anytime I got pulled over, those cops ended up laughing. First thing they'd say, do you know how fast you're going? Look from the officer down to my handlebars where there's the little tool imprint. Tap, tap, tap. Look back up at the officer. No, officer, I think my speedometer's broken. Deadpan. And
damn, I didn't even think it was possible. But just googling the record, it's 296 kilometers per hour. Although at Utah Salt Flats with some special bike thingy. I didn't think you could reach those speeds.
Oh yeah, but let me tell you, after you get over 75, the speed wobbles are scary as fuck. Oh. I've done that one time, and I got up to that speed because I was actually holding on to an old Subaru wagon. One time, I was good. I was good at that. A little bit of gravel on the road surface was... Nope, I'm good. I'm barely keeping this thing from wobbling out of, wobbling me off into space.
I can imagine, lol.
Yeah, we were getting halfway down the road, and he's wanting to try to hit 100, and I'm just like, no, I think I need to stop off here. I've got regular brakes on this thing, not disc. I need to have time to stop. Because the end of the road was a dead end. And I was like, no, I'm going to have to call it here, bud. He was good with it, and happy he took off. I let go of the window. Slowly engage your brakes, slowly engage your brakes. I think I got down to, it was about 45 before I actually got comfortable again. I was like, that was crazy.
Per hour, which is like 30 miles per hour something. It's scary, I think, lol.
That just depends on how confident you are in your bike, I guess, or / your skills. 35 for me was cruising. I got pulled over going 35 when I was quite literally just sitting down on the bicycle. As we're 55, I was standing up and giving it everything. Up until top of the gear, then I could sit down again and just kind of try to keep speed with it. Because I wasn't trying to add any extra force that time, because there was no extra force to add.
I guess you get used to the speeds, but I live in Stockholm, and biking downtown we don't want to do more than 20 to 30 miles per hour.
I would expect as much, yeah. The town I grew up in had a population of 2,300. So not too horribly big. And, well, the main drag was a main drag. It was 1 mile from one side of town to the other. My buddies and I would go from one side of town to the other in about 15 minutes. Everybody just chill speed. Nowadays, walking, I do 10 miles in under 2 hours. just relaxed, listening to my music, EDM, and going.
American miles and our miles aren't even the same, so that tells me nothing. LUL.
I didn't even know you guys were using miles. I do have to remember. Let me figure out the conversion real quick. Figure out, I should say. Well, let me look up the conversion real quick.
An American miles is 1.6 kilometers, and a Swedish mile is 10.
Swedish mile is 10 kilometers? Really? Huh. I guess I should have thought of that, though. It would make sense. You guys always did have a better measurement system.
Metric system for the wind camel.
Agreed. It's like, I'm sorry, it makes a lot more fucking sense. It really does. Maybe I'm just too scientific to be American. I don't know about that. But nowadays, it would definitely seem more things go on. Honestly, if I wasn't anchored down here, I would probably be seeing about getting a refugee status in Canada. Not sure if they'd take me because I'm on disability, but I'm willing to give it a shot. As I kept telling Americans, don't poke Canada. Don't poke the psycho. They're chill up until they're not chill anymore. And when they're not chill anymore, you're fucked.
I found one of my favourite quotes about the metric system. The calorie, cal, was originally defined as the amount of energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius.
Oh shit. That's awesome. One for one measurement system?
I think there are more of those.
There definitely would be. Your guys' system is based on equality. I mean,
that's a very nicely one of this, one of that, takes one of that to do one of those.
Uh-huh. I'm going to have to go back to the bathroom, damn it. I don't want to. But I'm not going to have a choice. Well, while I use the restroom, I will definitely put the Midas Touch back on, so that way you guys have something.
Also, why I like 1 mile being 10 kilometers.
Understandable. Ooh. I hate having IBS.
Sorry if I'm bashing a lot on your country law.
No, you're not. You good. We're both in agreement that we prefer your guys' measurement system. It ain't bashing. It's communicating. Alright, like I said, I've got to use the bathroom, so I'm going to put the show back on so that you guys can hear it, and go do that. Ooh.
All right.
What it is.
That one's almost done. Well, by almost anything.
Savings you just can't beat. Oh, this orange is gross.
Come on, ads.
You can be nervous, you can be concerned, but never be fearful of a son of a bitch. Never be fearful of a bully. Because a bully is nothing more than a guy who's puffed.
No. Be fearful of a son of a bitch. Don't be fearful of a bully, though. There's a difference. I'm a son of a bitch. I am definitely something you should fear.
Himself up.
I just don't like being feared.
That you will be too afraid to go stick a pin in him and watch him pop.
Hello, and welcome to the Politics Girl podcast. I'm your host, Lee McGowan. Let's get into it. So, some episodes we take deep dives into specific issues. Some are calls to action with groups out there in the field doing the hard work of democracy. And some are just answering the question, what the hell is going on? And how do we make sense of all of this? Look, last week was a mess. America essentially abandoned our international allies in favor of the autocrats of the world. We embarrassed ourselves on the world stage, culminating with our president blaming Ukraine for Russia's invasion of them, and then trying to shake them down to benefit himself. We had the horrible tragedy of the hostage family in Israel, where the mother and her children appear to have been brutally murdered by Hamas. We had more plane crashes. We fired all our park workers and aid workers. We found out our Republican leaders don't care if we die of cancer or bird flu or tuberculosis or measles, or if Kash Patel, who would be happy to kill us all if the king asked, is head of the FBI. In many ways, reading the news feels like you're in free fall. It's scary. You can't get your bearings or find anything to hold on to, and watching legacy media or some politician's response makes it feel like we're totally alone, like we're losing it while everyone else pretends things are normal. Which is why our guest, Michael Steele, was such a breath of fresh air last week. Former RNC chair and co-host of the MSNBC show The Weekend, Michael let loose on a Democratic strategist, asking what you would have us do, by basically saying what we've all been saying, which is, I would like you to give a damn. He went on to say that Elon Musk clearly has absolute power, and it's essential that people wake the hell up and show some anger that our country is under assault. So we're going to talk to him. And if you don't know Michael, he is the former lieutenant governor of Maryland, who was the incredibly successful leader of the Republican National Committee in the days before Trump, breaking fundraising records and winning the biggest pickup of House seats for his party in modern American history. And now he's on TV telling it like it is. So without further ado, please welcome my guest, former chair of the RNC, host of the Michael Steele podcast, and co-host of MSNBC's The Weekend, Michael Steele. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Oh, it's always so good to see you. And we were talking, folks. We were talking a little bit off air before we dialed in, and I would just say, look, I've been using you as a safe harbor, going to your TikToks and reading and listening to what you're saying out here, because right now I think a lot of folks have a lot of angst. There's a lot of sudden realization that this shit is real, that families and communities are being hurt and harmed. The Senate just last week gave Kash Patel free reign of our FBI. So, what's in your wallet?
What's in my wallet? Well, listen, here's the thing. I'm glad to hear that my rants in the kitchen are giving you, you can see yourself reflected in them a bit, because I really felt myself reflected in you when you went viral last week, telling people to wake up, right? I was just saying in the introduction, I found it so comforting to hear someone with some actual passion telling it like it was, because God, This first month of the Trump presidency has been a legitimate nightmare.
IBS sucks.
CDKeys.com. Shop the latest games and upcoming releases at the best prices. Enjoy incredible savings with up to 35% off new releases. Don't miss out. CDKeys.com. Pay less, game more.
Business taxes was always so all-consuming. Now business taxes is having a TurboTax small business expert who handles your taxes for you. With year-round advice and answers at no extra cost. So you have more time and money for your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
It has. And look, there are folks like you and me and others who were grinding through the electoral process in 24 and even before 24, trying to establish a narrative around what we saw coming. We read Project 2025 and we explained it and we broke it down and we just said, look, this is not good. When they're lying to you about, Project 2025, what are you talking about? There's what, it's Project 47. I don't know what 25 is. All of the fake head moves and the lying and the BS. We tried to sort of put that out there. And now it's kind of coming home to roost for a lot of folks. Republicans are finally forced to have some town halls. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. Democrats have been doing town halls. And now you're also seeing more and more people take to the streets, which is what my thing was. I'm like, I'm watching stuff burn down, and I don't hear crap from nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even an excited utterance about what's happening. And so it's refreshing, I guess, I'll use that word, to see folks tact to what you've been saying from your kitchen, what I'm saying from my various platforms, what others are saying. Wake the hell up! Pay attention. Yeah. This stuff is real. There are people who were just fired yesterday and last week who went to work and were told, you're done here. Go home. We don't need you. And the funny part, funny and ironic, is they're telling people, remember in the beginning of, shortly after the inauguration, Donald Trump put out this edict, because his executive orders are not executive orders, folks, they're edicts. Okay, so let's be clear about what we're doing. Time cover with him with the crown on the head. Actual cover is an accurate capture, but here's the deal. They wanted federal workers to come back to their offices to prove that they're working, only to be summarily fired. What was the point of creating all this traffic on the Beltway here in the DMV just so you can fire people? Is that you wanted the satisfaction of just handing a notice or walking to someone's desk and say, pack your shit up, you're done?
Yeah, well, I think that is it, Michael. I think that a lot of it is like the same thing if you're in an abusive relationship. It's about control, right? I'm going to force you to come back to the office. Then as soon as you're back here, I'm going to tell you you're fired to your face. It is a power move. It is a control move. It shows you very clearly that they don't care about the American worker, the American people, what's best for us. They're firing people that literally we depend on. But most of us don't understand what the government does. And I think that's the thing. Most of us don't understand what the government does. We go, the government's too bloated, and it's, let's get rid of waste and fraud. You're like, waste and fraud, the people that are studying cancer to make sure we can cure it. Waste and fraud, the people that are cleaning up your parks so it doesn't catch on fire. Like waste and fraud, the people, these are the people they're firing. If we want to look at waste and fraud, look at all the huge things that are going on with Elon and all the deals he's getting, so we can buy a bunch of terrible Cybertrucks that break down and can't get out of the sun, can't get out of the snow, can't get out of a dirt patch, can't get out of anything, but we're going to buy 400 million of them. That seems like kind of a waste, right? It is so foolish what we're doing. If we want to get rid of waste and fraud, why would we start by firing all the inspector generals whose entire job is to look out for waste and fraud, right? Like, it shows us what they're doing. It's all a power move. It's all put the crown on my head and I'm going to put out royal edicts and you're going to follow them. And that's not how the American government works. That is not how we're supposed to function. And so everything is kind of devolving very quickly. Like we're saying, it's been a month. Right? And I was looking at headlines recently, and the headlines are, and I'm going to tell you, these are from all different publications, Rolling Stone, Vox, Wall Street Journal, and these are the current headlines that I'm looking at right now. Trump is planning to take over the Postal Service. Trump cuts jobs at overlooked agency that puts every American at risk. Doge slashes health care for sick 9/11 first responders. Trump orders database tracking federal police misconduct to close. IRS begins to fire 6,000 workers, threatening tax season delays. It's just on and on and on stuff. Oh, early foreign policy moves signal new world order taking shape. Well, that's wonderful. Great job, America, right?
Don't know if you need Robitussin for your cough, Advil for your aches, or Theraflu for, well, all the things. Good news. You can choose when they get here. Get relief delivered right to your door with DoorDash. A Chewy order is on the way for Radar, who hears everything. And that sound means Chewy is en route. Earwipes, kibble, squeaky lamb. Almost Chewy time. And that's
sorry about that, everybody.
Whose favorite seed is also on the way.
America, right?
And we're on that last point. I hope Americans understand that we're on the wrong side of this new world order. The new axis that Trump is trying to create is anchored by Russia, number one, in which there is this sort of co-equal relationship with China in the U.S. We have now shifted, if you want to go back to the words of Reagan, we have now shifted to an alliance with the evil empire, of which we are now part of that empire. That even going back to the 9/11 days when Bush, singled out Iran and other nations as this axis of evil. We're now in that club. We're not in the club of the world order of law and order, of civil and civic rights. We're not in that space anymore. And we're not even being slowly moved, Lee. We're being pushed. And what is so disheartening for me as a Republican, I mean, forget the conservative bullshit. I mean, that's just an ideological patina that you put on who you define yourself as politically. You know, the Republican Party that stood for the alliances and that stood with our allies is gone. And to listen to Mitch McConnell wax poetically and longingly for that period and for that, I'm hoping that, things are better for us. Well, dude, they could have been if you'd only gathered at the beginning of the storm, gathered Republicans around the idea of impeaching that son of a bitch, when, after the January 6th events, he was actually impeached. You could have convicted him. We wouldn't even be here.
Yeah, people have to understand, if Mitch McConnell had just rallied Republican senators around removal because he was impeached, he could never have been able to run again. He never would have been able to be a candidate. We wouldn't have spent that many years listening to him having the election stolen and running again. This is a Mitch McConnell choice. So for him to now be like, oh, wringing my hands, also I'm leaving, is very unhelpful to us at this moment, right? Like, and it's unfortunate because clearly he's having, he's gotten old, he's having sort of glitches publicly, but he was a real genius in politics and in I mean, I would say he's an evil genius, but he's very brilliant. And it's unfortunate now that we can't use that mind to help us get out of what he knows is the wrong place. We literally are the bad guys now. And if you think of America as the bad guys, it is heartbreaking, because who's coming to save the world if America is bad? And it's this combination, right? It's the Russian, Iran. In many ways, Israel.
If that doesn't tell you what America thinks of itself, what does? Jeez. Then who's going to do it? We're not the only ones in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe we should, I don't know, talk to these people, work with them. They were our allies after all. Yeah, there are several things on the political side of things I just have to look at and go, really, you guys? Really? You can't figure this out? I'm a disabled guy sitting at home who doesn't get all the information compared to you guys, and I can see this as how this is going to happen. I can see that we can do this to help. So it's a bit of a mixture here, whether or not it's stupidity or malice. And I hate to say that the left's been being stupid, but they've been being stupid. They certainly have. And now we got to get enough people to realize that, well, one, who the actual threat is. Two, how to deal with that threat. And that is kind of a place where Zuko likes to lend his knowledge. Just as much as he likes to cause destruction, he likes to see others cause destruction when needed. So, say, seeing a millionaire's yacht taken out, he's going to be having a party back there. As where he may be anger and rage, he is also injustice. So, does make it a little bit easier to work with him.
Netanyahu, Hungary, China. It's this autocracy, what Anne Applebaum calls Autocracy Inc. It's like a corporation of the worst minds in the world who want more power, more wealth, more control for themselves. And they don't care about, the people or what it's going to happen. But they're in direct competition with Democracy Inc. And when America moves from Democracy Inc. into Autocracy Inc., that's a real problem.
I shall try.
Well, that's an excellent point, because it does align with what we're seeing happening in the various quarters, where you have now the American version of an oligarchy being created. That inaugural photo of Donald Trump with 5 billionaires sitting behind him, each with their tentacles in some aspect of government contracting. The lead dog, of course, being Elon Musk, who, for me, everything about Elon Musk and his relationship with Donald Trump and what he's doing, what his end game is, was not summed up by Elon Musk, but summed up by his 4-year-old son, who in the Oval Office not only dug in his nose and smeared boogers on the Resolute desk, but looked at Donald Trump and said, "You're not the president. You shouldn't be sitting there." And then would go on when Trump was talking, says, "Shut your mouth. Stop talking." Now, where does he get that from? Where does he get that opinion at that age of the president of the United States? Because the boy ain't sitting there on Twitter all day long, right? So let's be clear.
No, out of the mouth of babes comes right out of the mouth of the parents. You're just repeating their
You're
parents.
just repeating. That's why people don't like 2 to 5-year-olds around them when they haven't because that conversation is going to get replayed. Well, my mama said, or they just blurt out the word, son of a bitch. Or,
My parents don't like you. You're like, whoa, that's very, very much what children do. Now, listen, you said Trump's given Elon Musk absolute power. And looking at what he's doing right now with Doge, I don't know how anyone could argue with that fact. But what the Republicans are doing, because this past week, a Democratic coalition of states challenged Elon's authority in court. They called him an agent of chaos, saying exactly what you said, that the federal government has given this man virtually unchecked authority without proper legal authorization of Congress, without any meaningful supervision of his activities. But the Trump administration is claiming that Elon doesn't even work for the agency he was tapped to lead, that he's just some special advisor communicating the president's directives. But that's just bullshit, right? Trump has no idea what Elon's even doing out there. He's meeting
Wiki nutmeg.
with Modi, and Trump's like, oh, really? Like, he's meeting with the Prime Minister of India? I don't know, I guess he wants business deals with him? You're like, bro, that's not how the government works.
That's not how it works. And I just find, again, getting back to the point that you have a Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, you've got a John Thune, a Majority Leader in the Senate, both of them with various body parts in their hands trying to figure out what they should do. With various body parts in their hands trying to figure out what they should do. The reporting that's now percolating out on the street is the true confessions of Republicans who are saying they're scared shitless because the monster is now prepared to really turn on them. Not just in terms of, we're going to primary you, but through threats and violence. Senator Tillis, Tom Tillis, being threatened, physically threatened, if he voted against any of Trump's nominees. This is what happens when you allow a thug culture to overcome your government service. So now you become handicapped to the point where if you were feckless and useless before,
well, I'm going
a polished shit in the corner of the room has more value than you do right now serving in the job that you have.
Each breakfast.
Because there's nothing you can do.
Come on, go get it.
Or nothing you will do to stand up. They can't even sit there and go, all we need is 4 votes in the Senate to stop Kash Patel. We just need 4 votes in the Senate to stop RFK Jr. Right? None of it. So if everything is built around this idea that, he's going to come after me, to your point about an abusive relationship, America now has to step up and help heal this moment.
That's why she got
by removing those who are abused, giving them opportunity and time to go lie on a couch and recover because their public service is no longer needed. And that's what this moment leads to into 2026. To the point I think we were talking off air a little bit before, folks are worrying about 2026. What? We got to deal with what's right now.
Yes,
so
exactly.
We've got to galvanize this moment and create the wall that our elected officials are not creating.
It's going to be clear because I don't know how many of you are new or not. During these news segments, you guys can ask questions anytime. Please don't feel afraid. I'm going to do everything I can to explain everything. And I will tell you if I don't know something. And I'll tell you to do a little bit more research because I don't have 100%. On that note, onward.
To be the courts, folks, you're already beginning to see the weakening of the courts. You had a ruling just the other day, last week, where the judge says, well, I know he violated my court order, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
Fine. I'm going to bring you closer.
Why the hell are you on the bench?
Slump up your blankies.
Because I know if I violated a court order, what would happen?
Yeah, what would happen with half the stuff that Trump happened in court? You know what I mean? We all would be in jail by now.
Don't you look at me in that tone of voice and
I think the thing is that It's this idea that the Republican senators are falling into, that some of the American public are falling into, that a lot of the pundits and legacy media are falling into.
Mama gonna be upset with you if you
were
don't eat
discussing
breakfast.
it with Joe Walsh on the Bulwark
Oh,
lately.
tell Mama.
This idea of Trump being
Not for you,
untouchable.
Dublin.
And you can't do anything, and
Not
we're all
yours.
helpless, and we can't do anything about it. And you were like, I don't know why people are talking like that. Like, there's lots of things we can do to affect Trump. Like, this man is not actually some unbeatable dictator, no matter what he wants us to believe. So what do you think we should be doing? Like, lay it out for us, because I do think a lot...
There are many things we could be doing to beat Trump. Of many different flavors, and that's not counting someone pulling a Luigi. That's without a Luigi scenario happening. Just to be clear. There are many things we can do to hurt Elon Musk and these other oligarchs. We are not defenseless. We are not without teeth. I don't know how to explain it to you all precisely, but you certainly are not helpless. Every single one of you knows how to do damage to stuff. Just make sure you got the right stuff. You savvy? Loki, don't be a butt about it. She's not coming for your food.
A lot of people are feeling depressed and despondent. And then we can talk about the Republicans' cowardice. You guys, I am so glad that Marley Spoon is back as a sponsor of the Politics Girl podcast.
If that's what we're doing for the rest of it is talking about Republican cowardice, then I don't want to hear it. Democrats don't have any room to speak. Sweet. Then yeah, so make sure it gets set up. So there was a little thingy from Thor the Goblin King. Talking about one of the breastplates in one of the games. Piece of armor. Well, that breastplate actually had legit setup to where it was unisex. So the breastplate had extra space for breasts for a woman. And he's like, it's a bug, it's a bug. No, that's not. That's how old armor was made. It was made unisex. Sorry. Because even though there's not too much history of women in battles, let me tell you, you think women didn't fight, you don't know women very well.
Living with opioid addiction can be a struggle, trapped in a cycle of opioid use, withdrawal, and cravings.
More than 20 civil service employees resigned today from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, saying they were refusing to use their technical expertise to dismantle critical public services. We swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations, the 21 staffers wrote in a joint resignation letter. However, it has become clear that we can no longer honor those commitments, they said. Earlier this month, about 40 staffers in the office were laid off. Firings dealt a devastating blow to the government's ability to administer and safeguard its own technological footprint, they wrote. According to the Trump administration's own data, nearly 40% of the federal contracts DOJ claims to have cancelled as part of a signature cost-cutting program are not expected to save the government any money. The fake Department of Government Efficiency, overseen by Trump's domestic partner Elon Musk, released updated figures yesterday detailing nearly 2,300 federal contract cancellations across multiple agencies. However, the data published on DOJ's Wall of Receipts showed that 794 of these terminated contracts, more than a third, are projected to yield no financial savings. This lack of savings stems from the fact that the government has already fully obligated the contract funds,
Legally, this means that agencies are required to pay for goods and services already rendered, regardless of the contract's termination status. In many cases, payments have already been made, leaving little opportunity for cost recovery. It's like confiscating used ammunition after it's been shot when there's nothing left in it. It doesn't accomplish any policy objective, said Charles Tiefer, a retired University of Baltimore law professor specializing in government contracting. Tiefer criticized the administration's sweeping approach to terminating contracts, arguing that such measures obviously don't accomplish anything for saving money.
He's a seriously high IQ individual.
No,
He's
he's
got
not.
his faults also, I will tell
No,
you
he's
that.
not.
If you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. It doesn't matter.
In addition to contract cancellations, the administration faces mounting criticism.
I'm sorry, if Elon Musk's a high IQ individual, then we need to reevaluate our IQ scale. Because, I'm sorry, seeing his pattern recognition skills the way I have, I would horribly disagree.
For mass firings of federal employees.
Who is the Doge administrator?
So the president tasked Elon Musk to oversee the Doge effort. There are career officials and there are political appointees who are helping run Doge on a day-to-day basis.
This week, Trump stepped in to defend Elon from a mounting backlash in his own administration after some cabinet members told US federal workers to ignore the billionaire entrepreneur's demand that they write an email justifying their work. Intelligence-related bodies, including the FBI, National Security Agency, CIA, they argued that employees could risk divulging classified information if they complied.
This was an idea that Elon come up with. Doge worked with OPM to actually implement the idea. I actually participated in it myself. It took me about a minute and a half to think of 5 things I did last week. I do 5 things in about 10 minutes, and all federal workers should be working at the same pace that President Trump is working and moving.
Oh,
we have a country to save, and we want this federal government to be responsive to the needs of the American people who re-elected this president to have historic, massive reform, and that's what the intention of this idea is.
Thousands of probationary federal workers across the US have recently received termination notices, many under the stated reason of poor performance. However, employees and legal experts argue that these claims often lack evidence and are being used to justify politically motivated purges. No evidence has been provided to justify the dismissals, and some of the terminated employees were actually among some of the highest performers. Some of the people terminated actually work on performance and efficiency. They literally work on the original Doge before it was called Doge, because of course the government already goes out of its way to try and be as efficient as possible. Labour law experts warn that these mass dismissals could lead to significant legal and financial repercussions. Firing without following law will result in hundreds of thousands of federal employees being owed back pay plus interest
nothing
plus
being done
benefits
that's going
plus
to affect
attorneys'
you
fees.
whatsoever.
And when the bill comes, it'll be monumental, costing far more than the savings themselves. Despite these concerns, the Trump regime continues to defend its actions. However, the mass firings have caused turmoil across federal agencies. Some departments, including the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the National Nuclear Security Administration, have struggled to reverse the terminations of key personnel involved in critical projects, such as managing the bird flu epidemic.
The president sent out a truth last weekend to Elon Musk saying he loves everything Elon is doing and he wants him to be even more aggressive because Doge thus far has proven incredibly successful in making our government more efficient. And so Elon and Doge came up with this idea. Elon has implemented this at his private companies. It has proven successful. And it's a very simple idea when you think about it. All the Office of Personnel Management is asking, all this administration is asking, President Trump is asking, is for federal workers who live off of the American taxpayers' dime to send 5 bullet points of what they have done in the previous week.
One terminated employee from the U.S. Forest Service, who was just weeks away from completing their probationary period, described the devastating personal impact of the mass dismissals. Despite receiving positive performance reviews, they were issued a termination notice for poor performance. The employee who requested anonymity due to fears of retaliation described the financial and emotional toll of losing their job. The worker also revealed that they were asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement but refused. They expressed frustration at the administration's portrayal of federal employees as part of the fraud and waste and bloat that DOGE claims to be eliminating. Elon Musk destroyed 19 years of my career. It's gone, the worker said. We're all taxpayers here. I pay taxes, and I work my arse off for my job, despite whatever the rest of the public thinks about federal workers. The administration claims its cost-cutting measures, including contract cancellations and workforce reductions, have saved approximately $65 billion through terminating leases, cutting staff, and selling government assets. However, this figure has not been independently verified and is viewed with skepticism by many experts. Many of the cancelled contracts involved goods and services that had already been delivered or were essential to government operations. For example, the Department of Housing and Urban Development had fully committed $567,000 to purchase and install office furniture. Similarly, the U.S.
No, we're not having to roll around. I think you're done with some really quick back. Just like my stream.
Why is filing your taxes with Pre-Tax USA different? Well, for starters, our project.
Similarly, the U.S. Agency for International Development had already obligated $145,000 to a Michigan-based Native American-owned firm for carpet cleaning services. Another cancelled contract worth $249,000 was paid to a Washington, D.C. firm to assist the Department of Transportation with the transition from President Joe Biden's administration to Trump's. These terminations are examples of the administration's slash-and-burn approach, which is counterproductive.
Right.
Genuine savings could be achieved through collaboration with agency contracting officers to identify inefficiencies, a step the administration has not pursued. As the Trump regime continues its efforts to reshape the federal government under the false flag of efficiency, legal and political battles over the long-term consequences of these actions are likely to intensify. As Musk and Trump slash programs and contractors they've either never heard of or don't care for.
He's a very serious person. And he's a very high IQ people. You know, I like high IQ people. Not all have to be, but, you know, it'd be nice to have some people up there that he's a seriously high IQ.
Donald Trump, you wouldn't know what a high IQ looked like if it slapped you in the face. For real. You probably don't even know what IQ actually stands for. More or less what it is. For those who are wondering, IQ is the abbreviation for Intelligence Quotient. It is the primary way we measure one's ability to recognize patterns. And it's based on facts, not opinion. And yeah, I would not agree. Elon, high IQ. When at least a good quarter of the country, if not more, has more intelligence than he does in this regard. I've still got to go down to this bathroom. I just don't have a way to keep this asshole from working. And he very much is an asshole.
You individual. Now, he's got his faults also, I will tell you that. But not too many of them, which is now really waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse, and they're curbing inflation and saving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, millions, hundreds of millions. And if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. It doesn't matter.
I did not tell you to do that.
Balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. It doesn't matter.
I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast on Wednesdays, co-hosting Uncovered on Sunday.
Don't know if you need Robitussin for your cough, Advil for your aches, or Theraflu for, well,
As our
I'll be back. I'm sorry.
Donald Trump yesterday was in the Oval Office talking about replacing our visa system and immigration system with the Trump Gold Card, and he says he's basically going to sell gold cards to immigrants to get visas and fast-track their citizenship, and he says specifically he's going to help, not making this up, the Russian oligarchs become American citizens. Here, play this clip.
Why are you looking at me?
Russian oligarch be eligible for a gold card. Yeah, possibly. I got some Russian oligarchs that are very nice people. It's possible. They're not quite as wealthy as they're not as wealthy as they used to be. I think they can afford $5 million.
Yeah, from that same Oval Office appearance where he was flanked by RFK Jr., Donald Trump was also selling MAGA hats from the Oval Office. Take a look at RFK Jr.'s face also while Trump was selling MAGA hats. Here, play this clip.
Look. See that? Trump was right about everything. Just came in. Nobody said that. This was sent in by a fan. I said, I think we should make some of that. But we were pretty much involved. Are you allowed to take pictures? You consider it. I know him well. He's sort of a stiff. Brian, you're not a stiff. He's sort of a stiff guy. He'll take other things, but not a free hand. Always say yes to the president. Always say yes to the president. Would anybody like one? Mr. President, an easy question.
While all of this was going on, too, or I should say, right before that was going on, Donald Trump was in the Oval Office playing with toy airplanes, and he was playing with it while Elon was like, good job. And you can see Donald Trump holding the kind of toy plane, the statue, if you will. And you can see Elon through the mirror right there. There's some real issues about what's going on there as well. What the heck? At the same time, you had Donald Trump basically coercing and pressuring the MAGA holdouts to support the budget plan, the Trump GOP budget plan, which cuts basically $880 billion from Medicaid. So say goodbye to Medicaid under this program. It has about $4.5 trillion in tax cuts for the billionaires. It also cuts close to $300 billion to farmers, about $400 billion for education, and tens of billions of dollars for infrastructure. But don't worry, the billionaires are getting a massive tax cut. Ultimately, the budget blueprint passed after Donald Trump reached out to MAGA Republicans like Congresswoman Spars and others and got them to change their votes to flip in favor of the plan, which will add about $19 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years, conservatively about $19 trillion. Remember what I said a few months back? I said Trump's plan, they're saying that it'll add about $10 trillion. I was saying, nope, I think it'll be more like 30 to 50 trillion, which I still think I'm going to be right. Here was the moment where the MAGA Republicans were cheering the fact that they cut billions from hundreds of billions from healthcare and food assistance programs, but delivered $4.5 trillion in tax cuts to billionaires. Here, play this clip.
Yesterday, Donald Trump also got a number of bad rulings from federal judges. That's why Donald Trump and Elon Musk are basically calling for these federal judges to now be impeached or to force them out. One of the rulings was Judge Ali in Washington, D.C., who granted a motion to enforce the restraining order against USAID, against the spending freeze that the Trump administration ordered. Judge Ali ordered the Trump administration to pay, quote, all invoices and letter of credit drawdown requests for work done prior to February 15th by tonight at midnight, 36 hours to comply. Also, there was a separate scathing ruling from another federal judge extending her block of Trump administration's blanket spending freeze. While all of this is happening, Elon Musk has posted, what is the point of having democratic elections if unelected activist judges can override the clear will of the people? Well, that's no democracy at all. As our editor-in-chief Ron Golubkowski writes, they really struggle with the concept of a constitutional republic with judicial review. They also struggle with the concept of decency. Because here's Marjorie Taylor Greene from the hearing yesterday that preceded the vote on the budget bill, where Marjorie Taylor Greene says that the federal workers who are being fired are not really workers. They don't have real jobs, they don't deserve their jobs, they don't deserve their paycheck, and that federal workers are lazy. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene, who leads the DOJ subcommittee, has to say. Play this clip.
You can protest all you want outside of departments of this government. You can protest all you want, but the American people disagree with you. You're protecting the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is not a business. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. By the way, they're consuming taxpayer dollars. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Federal employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that can be fired at will.
I often get asked, what's the secret to how Midas Touch has grown so fast? I said, it's easy. It's the community, the Midas Mighty, number one. Then we have to make good content. Number three, we got to have the business behind the business, the nuts and bolts that make it all work. And we use Shopify here at the Midas Touch Network. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's home of the number one checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret with Shop Pay, it boosts your conversions by up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going down. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform, make it better today and sign up with Shopify. Join Shopify. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. So here's what you got to do. Upgrade your business the way we did, and I want you to head to Shopify.com/Midas. That's SHOPIFY.com/Midas. Upgrade your selling today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period right here. If you go to Shopify.com/Midas, all lowercase, that's Shopify.com/Midas, and get that $1 per month trial period right now. Thanks, Shopify. And by the way, as Marjorie Taylor Greene leads the DOJ subcommittee, again, I don't care what political party you're from, aren't you pissed regardless that she's not calling Elon Musk to testify before oversight committees? That Elon Musk just gets to make up things, and then, as the New York Times reported yesterday, Elon Musk then remove some of the main claims about, or DOJ removed some of the main claims about the things they allegedly discovered that were fraud, which were not. They're not calling Elon Musk to testify. In fact, the MAGA Republicans have consistently blocked the subpoenas to Elon Musk when the Democrats have tried to subpoena him. Here, Marjorie Taylor Greene says that everybody loves DOJ. Democrats, Republicans, everybody loves DOJ. Here, play this clip.
And we have Democrats crying over Elon Musk Are you kidding me? The American people, the polling is out, 72%. Democrats and Republicans support Doge. Support it, 72%. They are not upset about anything that Elon Musk is doing. As a matter of fact, they're happy. They want their 50, they want all these improper payments, all of this waste, they want it back.
Also today, Elon Musk will be attending the first cabinet meeting that Donald Trump will be convening. Here is Caroline Leavitt, Donald Trump's press secretary, talking about that. Let's play the clip.
You gotta get close right here at the poop wheel. Hey, wait. Moscow. You're supposed to be under your blanket.
The Tinker is an eccentric inventor, a mastermind of innovation that constructs brilliant inventions to solve a wide array of problems. Curious, unusual, and just a bit unpredictable, Tinkers use their incredible ingenuity to support allies and devastate them.
I was wondering if is Elon Musk going to attend the president's first cabinet meeting tomorrow?
He is, as a matter of fact. I spoke to the president about that before coming down here as well. And Elon, considering he is working alongside the president and our cabinet secretaries, this entire administration will be in attendance tomorrow just to talk about Doge's efforts and how all of the cabinet secretaries are identifying waste, fraud, and abuse at their respective agencies. We look forward to the meeting tomorrow, and I think you'll be hearing from the president and his cabinet where they're on campus tomorrow. I hope you guys are excited.
And then yesterday, you may recall this instance where the reporter asked Caroline Leavitt, so who's running Doge? Like, who's the administrator? Play this clip.
Thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask about a federal judge yesterday was saying that they didn't know who the Doge administrator was and was asking the lawyer for the administration who it was, and the lawyer responded, I don't know the answer to that. Can you tell us who the administrator of Doge is?
Again, I've been asked to answer this question. Elon Musk is overseeing Doge. No, Elon Musk is a special government employee, which I've also been asked and have answered.
You lie! You lie! You're lying! Liar! Lies! They built the earth by lies! He lies!
That question as well. There are career officials at Doge. There are political appointees at Doge. I'm not going to reveal the name of that individual from this podium. I'm happy to follow up and provide that to you. But we've been incredibly transparent about the way that Doge is working. John?
Yes, Caroline Leavitt said they were being so transparent that they couldn't tell you who the administrator is. Then they basically named this lady Amy Gleason. I'm not sure if she realized that she was the head of Doge. Her LinkedIn said that she was a senior advisor at the U.S. Digital Service. So I'm not sure she realized she was the administrator. So is Gleason going to testify? We will see. While all of this was going on, Trump allies circulated a mass deportation plan calling for processing camps, which I call concentration camps, and a private citizen army because the Trump administration has been so incompetent in their attempt at doing the largest deportation exercise on day one, which they've tried to do, and they've tried to do it cruelly, but they're so incompetent. They now want to hire people like Blackwater, like Eric Prince and others, and they're hatching a privatized plan to go after migrants. Love what Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had to say when she was asked by a reporter, Joe Galena, from Call to Activism, what her message to Elon Musk is. Here, play this clip right here.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
That's it. Then you had spineless former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. He was asked the following by Jesse Waters. Let's play it.
If you have one thing to say to Jasmine Crockett, what would it be? The last woman who said that to Elon was a state rep in California. And you know what happened? What? He moved his company to Texas. Ooh. So think about that. And think about how much taxes California just lost.
Stop it. They don't lose shit.
Elon and anybody else who wants to go and volunteer
For real.
Stop it. Get some help.
To make the government more accountable, more efficient, and more effective.
And now, what is MAGA doing to try to distract? Well, you have Jesse Waters who's saying, well, according to the Washington Times, the new FBI director, Kash Patel, is opening an investigation into James Comey about some honeypot operation to go after Donald Trump. And Waters is like, this is about justice. Okay, it's about retribution. And, you know, these people just make up stuff all the time now. We're going to play this clip.
Fox News alert, according to the Washington Times, Kash Patel's FBI opening an investigation into James Comey. The Times reports that Comey launched an off-the-books honeypot operation against candidate Donald Trump. According to a whistleblower, he sent 2 female undercovers to infiltrate Trump's 2016 campaign and told them to act as honeypots, spies who use sex to get what they want. And the honeypots ingratiated themselves into the top ranks of the campaign. If true, that means the Obama administration was conducting multiple phony investigations into Trump without any evidence. The whistleblower says FBI employees were told to shut their mouth about the operation, and one of the agents was transferred to the CIA so she couldn't testify. This investigation into Comey isn't about revenge, it's about justice. Kash and Bongino are going to get answers.
But should be noted as well, yesterday, 20 individuals who worked at the digital department that essentially became Doge, they resigned from their positions yesterday as more of a mass exodus from the kind of corrupt stuff this Trump administration is doing is underway. We'll keep you posted every step of the way here on the Midas Touch Network, but it sickens me to have these MAGA Republicans out there cheering and supporting the fact that they're taking away Medicaid, taking away SNAP, and attacking the most vulnerable Americans, attacking farmers, attacking veterans, you know, attacking people who live in red states too, and blue states all across the country. It's sad that's what's happening. We'll keep you posted every. Release the files, Donald. Release the files, Attorney General Pam. You're not going to release the files. We know what you're doing here. Like clockwork, now all the MAGA people are saying the Epstein files, they're deleted. They're gone. The deep state whistleblowers are saying they've been destroyed. It was the deep state plot. I'm not making this up. Here's what went down. Remember, you had Attorney General Pam Bondi say, we're going to release the JFK files, we're going to release the RFK files, we're going to release the MLK files. What about the Epstein list? Yeah, we're going to release that too. I was like, you're not going to release that. Donald Trump's name is going to be most likely on it in some form or fashion because Donald Trump is on a ton of the stuff that's already been released. Trump is all over the call logs of the Epstein files already. We know that. I've showed you those. Donald Trump is all over the flight log that's been released in other cases. Trump's name is in deposition testimony where Epstein told women he was trafficking that he was going to bring them to a Trump casino and that he was calling Donald Trump. We showed you Donald Trump saying that Jeffrey Epstein's a great guy. He likes women on the younger side and likes to have a good time. We showed you all of these videos of Donald Trump partying with Epstein. We've showed you the facts where Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the trafficker for Epstein, who brought the girls to Epstein, would find some of those girls at Mar-a-Lago, like Virginia Giuffre, who was homeless, got a job at Mar-a-Lago. Ghislaine Maxwell found Giuffre at Mar-a-Lago, brought her to Epstein, and Epstein started trafficking her. We've got the receipts here. I mean, Epstein was on Donald Trump's plane. We know that Donald Trump hosted these weird beauty pageants for girls. Donald Trump's bragged that he would inspect women naked at his beauty
pageants because he was the leader. Donald Trump has been found liable for sexual assault. Like, we know what's up here. Now they want us to believe that the Epstein files are deleted. So here's what's going on. Anna Paulina Luna, conspiracy theorist, but she's a MAGA Republican congresswoman from Florida. I think they put her in charge of like the Epstein task force to just give like a really incompetent person this task, just thinking that she's not going to be able to, you know, do her job and then basically kill the investigation or whatever they've been promising to their MAGA base for all of these years. So she announces that her congressional subcommittee, they're focused on JFK, MLK, Epstein, UFOs, and all of these things. So she asks the Department of Justice, can you release the Epstein files? And they refuse to turn it over. So here's what goes down. And Anna Paulina writes about it. She goes, on February 11th and February 19th, the GOP oversight sent a letter to the Justice Department, that's Trump's Attorney General, Pat Bondi, asking for a status on releasing the Epstein files as well as the JFK files. The DOJ has not responded. I'm reaching out on X, Twitter, because we can't seem to get a response from Pam Bondi. At Pam Bondi, what is the status of the documents? These documents were ordered declassified by Donald Trump. So then you had all of like the MAGA propagandists on social media. They're pushing this message. Breaking! This was yesterday. Breaking! Whistleblower reveals the FBI has begun deleting and destroying files that could be linked to the Epstein list. The FBI has been working day and night to destroy the files on its servers. A stunning level of corruption. Remember at the end of last week, I showed you this video of Attorney General Pam Bondi when she went on Fox, and the Fox host asked her, so you're releasing the Epstein files? Remember what she said. Here, play this clip.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
But now here's what Brian Allen says. He's on X. He goes, Representative Anna Paulina Luna is calling out Pam Bondi for stonewalling the Epstein and JFK files. Bondi claimed last week the documents were on her desk pending review. But now, radio silence. Luna's done waiting after the DOJ ignored.
That is an odd sound.
Two House oversight letters. She's blasting Bondi on X on social media. So Pam, at Attorney General Pam Bondi, if the files are right there, what's the holdup? Or is this just another case of pending review, meaning it will never see the light of day? No, here are the photos. This is Trump with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell over and over again. Tim Burchett, a MAGA Republican Congress member, goes, where are the Epstein files, Pam Bondi? As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, writes, I love the fact that the Trump administration is now responsible for covering up all the conspiracies. Epstein, JFK, J6 pipe bomber, Ray Epps, chemtrails, weapon biolabs, Ghostbusters, Patriot Front as FBI, a whole host of false flags, manifestos. Trump is hiding all of it! Exclamation point. So then you have Mike Flynn calling this out as well. And Mike Flynn goes, at Representative Anna Paulina Luna, release everything at once. We don't need a trip down memory lane. We need full transparency, to which Anna Paulina Luna goes, hey, Mike Flynn, you of all people would know that I nor the committee have any declassify authority. The declassification approval is done by Waltz, Tulsi, and Bondi and the White House counsel. You know this. We do need transparency, but we also need, like you, putting out correct information.
Savings you just can't beat. Oh,
This orange is gross.
So I bought a $500 bottle of Creed Aventus because it's the world's most popular fragrance, potentially. We do need transparency, but we also need, like you, putting out correct information. So why are they not releasing the Epstein files? Why were they not release it? I mean, maybe this video is one of the reasons why they're not releasing it. Remember when MSNBC did this compilation, play this clip?
You're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests. Among them, the financier Jeffrey Epstein. More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president says now, he never liked Epstein.
I was not a fan. Well, what about this? In this video, the journalist Michael Wolff reveals audio recordings in which Jeffrey Epstein claims to offer inside knowledge about the inner workings of Trump's first term in the White House. This is from the Fire and Fury podcast by Michael Wolff, October 31st, 2024. This is Epstein's voice. You can hear Epstein in play this clip.
I think we have a snippet from the conversation recorded with Epstein. I think this was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other.
Right.
And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag, and Priest's not doing a good job, and Kelly has a big mouth. What do you think? Jamie Dimon says that you're a problem, and I shouldn't keep you.
You gotta think about it.
And Carl thinks I need a spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne is just too much of a wild one. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House, about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
As our buddy Kyle Kulinski at Secular Talk writes, here's the cycle of Trump. Trump was best friends with Epstein. Trump does something that helps pedophiles. Trump was best friends with Epstein. Trump does something to help pedophiles. Look, again, here's Trump's name all over the flight log, like it's all over. Remember back during the first administration, Steve Bannon contacted Epstein over worries he would flip on Trump new book claims. By the way, from Michael Wolff's latest book, here are just some of the major revelations from the Bombshell Daily Beast article featuring audio of Jeffrey Epstein speaking about Donald Trump. Epstein described himself as Donald Trump's closest friends for over a decade. Epstein claimed that Trump liked to F the wives of his best friends. Epstein alleged Trump and Melania first slept together on his private jet, the Lolita Express. Epstein suggested Trump was a serial cheat and loved using his power to pursue women. Trump reportedly had scalp reduction surgery and referred to himself as the Trumpster. Leading up to the election, there were stories like this. Ex-model who accused Trump of groping her in 1990s says Epstein mentioned Trump every time we spoke. Here's another one. Donald Trump groped felt like a twisted with Jeffrey Epstein, former model, alleges. Here's another model that came forward with allegations. Donald Trump jumped on a blonde 6'1" model and groped her while she tried to fight him off at a beauty pageant in 1993. She also said Trump was working with Jeffrey Epstein to recruit young women to his parties at Mar-a-Lago. By the way, one of the jets that Donald Trump was flying around in during the election was Epstein's Gulfstream 550. They just, Epstein's dead, but the plane was sold, and then Donald Trump
wrapped the Trump name around the Epstein jet, and that's what Trump was flying around in. Remember when Donald Trump, during the sex trafficking trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, wished Ghislaine Maxwell well? He wished her the best during her sex trafficking trial, didn't condemn her. He said, wish her well. Remember this? This was during the first administration. Play this clip.
Don't know if you need Robitussin for your cough, Advil for your aches, or Theraflu for, well...
Remember this? This was during the first administration. Play
I'm
this
going
clip.
to go clean up.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and so a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
So are you sensing a pattern here, folks? Are you sensing a pattern of what's happening? By the way, this is the type of beauty pageants that Donald Trump would host. Like what? I mean, for real, what grown adult man has a job? Like if you're a billionaire or have any money at all, like just what grown man does events with little girls in swimsuits, in swimsuit competitions? Like who does this? This is from the 1991 Look of the Year finale at the Trump Hotel or the Trump Plaza. This was at Trump's event. You had girls like this, and you see them. They then went on a yacht the night before. There was like this yacht trip that Trump was on, a yacht, a boat where they would go around with these girls, and the girls would dance on the men. It was like just disgusting stuff. I mean, just look at the images.
Actually, move you to listen.
The photos of Trump with little
Not
girls.
just be an ass.
I mean, right there. We're looking at the photos right there. Here's Donald Trump on audio saying that one of the reasons that he
Lay
likes
it out.
beauty pageants is because he can look at the women naked and can inspect their bodies without their consent. You're playing this clip.
What you could also say is the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that. So you have done that. So I'll tell you
There's no one coming through that door, please.
Before a show.
Sorry.
Everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else, and no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure you're like a doctor. Is everyone okay? They did it with those. But is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with it.
And here's Donald Trump. This video is recent. This video is a year ago or so. This is Trump speaking at the Young Republican Convention in New York. So he's speaking to high schoolers and college students, young Republicans in New York. And he's telling them, this is his speech, that the most courageous thing that you can do is when you talk about grabbing women by their genitals, and if you call it locker room talk, it's the most courageous thing. This is his advice and guidance and story. I'm just going to play it for you to high schoolers and college students at the Young Republican event. And he said the general said to him this was the most courageous thing he's ever done. Here, play this clip.
But I went onto that stage just a few days later, and a general who's a fantastic general actually said to me, "Sir, I've been on the battlefield, men have gone down on my left and on my right. I stood on hills where soldiers were killed. But I believe the bravest thing I've ever seen was the night you went onto that stage with Hillary Clinton after what happened. And then that woman asked you the first question about it. And I said, locker room talk. It's locker room talk. What the hell? What are you talking? Locker room talk. That was not a great...
So I wonder where did the files go? The Epstein files are missing. Oh my gosh, the deep state. This stuff's ridiculous, right? I mean, you have I don't know your political affiliation. We have. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of Democrats, liberals who watch this, but there's a lot of people who are not into politics who watch this. People from other countries too, but a lot of Americans who are Republicans. We've got some people who are MAGA who watch this now and who are
who left MAGA and watched this, or just people who are like libertarian.
There's no one coming to the door.
Come on. You see what I just showed you?
There's no one coming to the
This
door
guy's
right
a sicko.
now. I'll let you know.
And now they're trying to say that the files are missing. Or they can't find it. Ooh. You think you're really going to see the Epstein files? If you believe that, I've got, maybe it's, I think I know where it is. I think it's in Fort Knox. I think that's why Donald Trump keeps saying he's going to search for them. Maybe it's with the magical gold in Fort Knox, like Donald Trump told Macron. Play this clip.
We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there. Because maybe somebody stole the gold. Tons of gold.
What a vile creature Trump is. Jeez. Vile creature. And subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. The truth is more important than ever.
Almost done.
You just shut down entire congressionally created departments simply because you don't like them. It's super weird, though, because no prior president has tried to do that. I guess every other prior president was just a complete idiot and moron. Yes, as you may have heard, President Trump and President Musk have putatively fed the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, into the woodshed. On February 4th, the Trump administration announced that it was withdrawing nearly all USAID personnel from their posts worldwide. The administration informed employees that the agency had been disbanded. Overseas employees must return home within 30 days, and the USAID website has gone dark. What kind of programs are affected by the shutdown? Well, emergency medical care for displaced Palestinians and Yemenis fleeing war, heat and electricity for Ukrainian refugees, and HIV treatment and mpox surveillance in Africa. Or, as President Trump said, USAID has, quote, been run by a bunch of radical lunatics and we're getting them out. And as ProPublica reported, USAID employees are not going down without a fight. Quote, on Friday morning, the staffers at half a dozen U.S.-funded medical facilities in Sudan who care for severely malnourished children had a choice to make. Defy President Donald Trump's order to immediately stop their operations or let up to 100 babies and toddlers die. They chose the children. In spite of the order, they will keep their facilities open for as long as they can. Now, after quite a bit of pushback, Trump said he was merely delegating authority to Marco Rubio and Elon Musk. But is it legal for any of these people to shut down USAID? Well, it is certainly against the law for Trump to eliminate USAID via an executive order. President John F. Kennedy started the agency by executive order in 1961, but Congress established it as an independent agency in 1998 by enacting the Foreign Affairs Reform and Restructuring Act. It states, quote, unless abolished pursuant to the reorganization plan submitted under Section 6601 of this title, and except as provided in Section 6562 of this title, there is within the executive branch of government the United States Agency for International Development as an entity described in Section 104, Title 5. USAID grew out of the success of the Marshall Plan. We saw the benefit that goodwill through soft power can create. USAID was an attempt to systematize foreign aid. And after 9/11, there was a push to beef up USAID in the 2000s, led largely by George W. Bush in order to facilitate goodwill in the Middle East and Africa. But it seems it's always been a political punching bag. For one reason, Americans vastly overestimate how much the budget is spent on foreign aid.
Yeah.
USAID's budget is about $40 billion out of almost $7 trillion, so roughly 0.5% of the budget. But also, while USAID engages in unquestionably humanitarian aid, the left has in the past criticized it for allegedly being a projection of American hegemony, a so-called iron fist inside a velvet glove, doing nice things abroad solely to advance our own agenda. But it's fraud because a thing can be two things at once. Now, Congress uses special words when it establishes an agency within the executive branch. Those words are, there is within the executive branch of government, in this case, USAID. Since Congress created the executive agency by law, any attempt to dissolve or restructure USAID requires congressional approval, and only an act of Congress can eliminate that agency. But President Trump issued 2 executive orders purporting to realign the concept of American foreign aid. The orders target foreign aid that Trump believes are in conflict with his America First agenda. Trump's order, quote, implementing the President's executive order on reevaluating and realigning the United States foreign aid, states that Secretary of State Marco Rubio, quote, has paused all U.S. foreign assistance funded by or through the State Department and U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, for review. Rubio apparently will shrink USAID from 14,000 people to 294, with just 12 employees.
If you're going to be
And Trump's executive orders purport to authorize the Secretary of State to
make sure you're tucked in.
Now, the State Department has traditionally collaborated closely with USAID. The 1998 Act outlined the scope of that relationship, transferring some of USAID's functions to the State Department, but the Act did not merge them. Section 6601 gave then-President Bill Clinton a limited window to reorganize the two agencies. He had the right to submit a report to Congress recommending that the State Department absorb USAID, but President Clinton chose to keep the two agencies independent. He had until October 1st, 1999 to make other changes, but declined. So on paper, Donald Trump lacks the authority to transfer USAID to the State Department. However, Secretary of State Marco Rubio claims to have the power to absorb USAID. Rubio was once a strong proponent of the agency, saying, quote, "It is less than 1% of the budget and is critical to our security." Here he is explaining how America uses
If
foreign
you
aid
want
to
to
save
pant,
lives.
move farther on the bed so you don't shake the trailer as much. Don't be a bite. And not a martini.
It will not be easy to radicalize people who are alive because the American taxpayers saved their lives and the lives of their children.
But that was 2017. Rubio has now turned on the USAID employees,
Dublin.
accusing them of
Move
both
the carpet
deliberately sabotaging the agency.
Hello, naked Jesus.
Rubio said that the Trump administration will give certain overseas programs waivers to allow them to keep operating, but as of now, food shipments are off.
Shit.
Rubio appointed Pete Morocco to lead USAID.
Hey,
Morocco
Dragon.
was reportedly one of the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, and he placed almost all agency employees on administrative leave. Rubio said the State Department will figure out a plan to bring the employees home within 30 days. So can the Trump administration fire...
Let me get a tan, then I'll fit that description a
I
little
got
bit
my
better.
PC laughing face. I'm so happy. D.
Good. As far as streaming stuff goes, look up Restream.io, and then let me pull up here. TwitchTTS.net. That'll make it to where you can be streaming on two platforms at the same time and have the voice chat. For those of you who didn't know, yes, I support other streamers.
It's fine. No need ATM.
Sweet. Yeah, whenever you want that information, just hit me up.
Sure.
If you haven't already added it to it.
Tapped. D.
Alright, I gotta get through this. I've got a couple more vids to do, and then I'll switch over to Midday Chill, and this will be no problem.
For the USAID employees? Well, the answer is probably yes. It is much easier to fire employees than it is to get rid of an entire department. But
Otherwise,
two
just
labor
got to turn
organizations,
stuff
the
down a little
American
bit.
Foreign Service Association and the American Federation of Government
I should
Employees,
do that.
got the first restraining order enjoining Trump and Rubio from taking further actions on USAID. Overseas employees said that Rubio's orders placed them in
Good to
physical
go.
danger because they were supposed to return to the U.S. within 30 days. The groups alleged that the Trump administration violated the 2024 Appropriations Act, which prevents the Department of State from reorganizing USAID without Congress. The act defines reorganization to include downsizing, elimination, or consolidation of USAID. Now, we've talked about TROs a lot on this channel recently. I can't imagine why. You might recall that generally a TRO is an emergency motion to preserve the status quo so the court can get a handle on what's going on. After the court decides the TRO issue, either granting the TRO or denying it, then generally the court will decide the preliminary injunction, which is generally a slightly less emergency motion that preserves the status quo pending the litigation on the merits, which can take a long time. And then once there's a final decision on the merits, there might be a permanent injunction. Now here, the temporary TRO forced Secretary Rubio and Pete Morocco to come up with a plan to take care of these employees. And after
Damn it,
hearings and
on that
supplemental
phone.
submissions from Rubio and Morocco, the judge lifted the restraining order. Morocco attested
Done
that
well.
all overseas employees placed on administrative leave will continue to be protected through
that
standard
charge, I didn't
residential,
use
personal, and physical security programs in place at their mission posts. The government will continue to give overseas employees two-way radio communications in the event of an emergency. The State Department also said that, quote, no USAID employee stationed abroad has been or imminently will be required to return to the United States within 3 days. The plaintiffs expressed concern about potentially having to cover evacuation and relocation costs with no guarantee of reimbursement. And while the judge acknowledged this possibility, he emphasized that financial harm
That
alone
one I
wasn't
just
enough to
scored on
warrant
too,
an
so it should be
injunction.
as well.
It requires irreparable harm. Secretary Rubio waived the freeze on USAID employees' living and operating expenses, and Judge Nichols determined that these actions were enough to address the financial concerns. He found that financial hardships alone do not constitute irreparable harm. Federal government employees who challenge adverse employment actions have to follow the administrative processes laid out in the Federal Service Labor Management Relations Statute and Civil Service Reform Act. These These laws require employees to go through the Merit Systems Protection Board before pursuing judicial review. For foreign service officers, the Foreign Service Act governs disputes through bodies like the Foreign Service Grievance Board, and courts generally uphold the exclusivity of these remedies. Therefore, Judge Nichols found that the federal workers were unlikely to succeed on the merits of their claim because they have to go through this administrative process. But the practical impact of the ruling was that the Trump administration was able to lay off at least 2,000 USAID workers, and the individual employees will have to challenge their terminations in administrative proceedings. Now, obviously, if you're going to eliminate entire congressionally created agencies, you're going to want a good lawyer. But if you want a great lawyer, let my law firm, the Eagle Team, help. If you've gotten in a car crash, suffered a data breach, especially if your data was leaked by Doge or anyone else, or are dealing with a workers' comp or social security issue, maybe you got laid off by the federal government recently, we can represent you or help find you the right attorney. It's so important to talk to the lawyer right away so you can maximize your recovery. By the way, we don't get paid unless you do, so there's nothing up front. So just click on the link in the description or call the phone number on screen for a free consultation with my team. Because you don't just need a legal team, you need the... Now, Judge Nichols did not stop the funding freeze, but Judge Amir Ali of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia did. Judge Ali enjoined the administration from, quote, suspending, pausing, or otherwise preventing the obligation or disbursement of appropriated foreign assistance funds in connection with any contracts, grants, cooperative agreements, loans, or other foreign assistance award that was in existence as of January 19, 2025. The judge made his determination after Public Citizen and the American Bar Association filed 2 lawsuits. The AIDS Vaccine Advocacy Coalition and the Journalism Development Network received federal grants from USAID to support their work. Congress approved their funding in the Further Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2024, but Rubio issued a stop work order that essentially prevented them from doing their work. They alleged that Trump usurped Congress and violated the Take Care Clause, and they argued that Rubio's stop work orders are arbitrary and capricious in violation of the Administrative Procedure Act, the Anti-Deficiency Act, and the Impoundment Control Act, which we've talked about a lot recently. And the American Bar Association filed a lawsuit on behalf of Global Health Group and several other non-profits and for-profit groups, alleging that the funding freeze impacted their operations. Plaintiffs also contend that the government owes them money for services they already provided. For example, Democracy International says that the government owes it about $120 million, and Chemonics has an unpaid bill for $103.6 million. And as we've talked about, in most cases, it is illegal for the president and the secretary to unilaterally withhold congressionally appropriated funds. But things are heating up because late Tuesday night, the government said it will continue to impound funds, but said they were only freezing contracts when the agency had specific statutory authority to do so. The government insisted it is reviewing every contract, and that substantially all the terminations were permitted under the terms of the contracts. So that ruling temporarily gave Trump the green light to lay off the workers. But what about the funding freeze? Well, Judge Amir Ali of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia ruled that both the AIDS Vaccine Advocacy Coalition and the Journalism Development Network are eligible to receive federal grants from USAID to support their initiatives. Although Congress authorized their funding through the Further Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2024, Senator Rubio's stop work orders brought their operations to a halt. So Judge Ali enjoined the administration from, quote, suspending, pausing, or otherwise preventing the obligation or disbursement of appropriated foreign assistance funds in connection with any contracts, grants, cooperative agreements, loans, or other federal foreign assistance award that was in existence as of January 19, 2025. But the government didn't lift the funding freeze. Why?
Why is filing your taxes with Free Tax USA different? Well, for starters, our premium federal
tax... Because the TRO enjoined the suspension made, but allowed the government to enforce terms of contracts and modifications allowed under the contract. And the government took advantage of
kind of how I feel. Like, really?
Thousands of grants, contracts, and cooperative agreements, while the State Department reviewed them. The administration says, quote, at least substantially all of USAID's actions and a large share of the State Department's actions to terminate or suspend aid contracts and grants could have been allowed by the terms of those instruments or terms implicitly incorporated into those instruments. Implicitly incorporated doing a whole lot of work there. So the plaintiffs asked the court to enforce the order and find the government
legal shit.
Contempt. And on February 20th, the court granted plaintiff's motion for enforcement of the court's TRO. Judge Ali agreed that the government could review contracts, quote, however, the court's TRO does not permit defendants to simply continue their blanket suspension of congressionally appropriated foreign aid pending a review of the agreements for whether they should be continued or terminated. That is the very action
now
the
court
temporarily enjoined because plaintiffs had shown that blanket suspension pending review would cause irreparable harm and was likely arbitrary and capricious under the APA for failing to consider the massive reliance interests. The court was not inviting defendants to continue their suspension while they reviewed contracts and legal authorities to come up with a new post-hoc rationalization for the en masse suspension. But the court declined to find the administration contempt because the government recognized that, quote, prompt compliance with the order is required. Judge Ali left the door open to find them in contempt if they do not release the appropriated funds. So now we're waiting to find out if the defendants really do respect Judge Ali's orders. And I really hope they follow the court's orders. If so, the blanket freeze should be reversed right away. If the defendants defy the judge, then we'll have a bigger problem. And as of right now, it's not clear whether the government is in full compliance with these orders or not. Courts have the authority to enforce the rulings, which may result in fines, sanctions, or imprisonment for officials responsible for defying orders. And I fully expect that the plaintiffs in all these cases will continue to seek further remedies. And as with all of these current issues,
That's actually just my cell phone playing it.
Congress to pass a law authorizing the reorganization of the USAID. It doesn't have to do this by executive order, but it's entirely possible that the administration wants this fight. In extreme cases,
I have Xbox through the Xbox app over here on my PC.
Where the judiciary and executive branches clash over authority.
That's how I managed to get
The 1998 Act does
Xbox.
not give the Secretary of State authority to fire employees or put them on leave. But what about Elon Musk and Doge? Well, foreign aid is part of how America.
If you're paying full price for your...
There's a fan sound or something like that.
Oh, that's my computer.
For example, a memorandum from USAID said, Ukraine, quote, USAID also worked to offset the costs to the global food supply caused by Russia's attacks on Ukrainian farmers and grain producers.
It's about a 5-year-old dual graphics card system.
Assets, essentially helping Ukraine's economy continue.
Midline gaming PC.
And when Elon Musk bragged that he quote, spent the weekend feeding
Oh,
USAID,
I know what I can do.
Russian president
I'm being a fool. I forgot to turn my noise canceling filter back on.
And the New York Times reported that foreign strongmen cheer as Musk scandalous USAID. And you can see why countries hostile to the United States, like Russia, want though Elon Musk may have had...
Now, I'm not sure if that actually helps or not.
The USAID's Inspector General was investigating Musk's partnership between the Starlink company and the Ukrainian government. Ukrainian soldiers accused Musk of
That is sensitive.
Russia, allowing the military to make significant gains at strong. And after USAID announced its investigation, Musk said he needed to...
Okay, that's way better already. But the politic thing sounds weird now, D.
I kind of figured it might, because it was way low. I was having a little trouble hearing it.
Authority to fire employees. What about Elon Musk and Doge? Elon Musk has already made several false claims about USAID. He falsely claimed that the U.S. government allocated $50 million to contraceptives in Gaza. However, Musk confused the Gaza Strip with a province of Mozambique that received contraceptives from USAID. And why would America send condoms to Mozambique? Well, to save lives and stop the spread of disease. Mozambique has one of the highest HIV infection rates in the world, with an estimated 12% of adults living with HIV. And condom distribution is a key strategy in reducing the spread of HIV and other STDs. And without USAID, more people will be infected, or other countries like China will step in and have to receive goodwill. Confronted with the falsehood, Musk admitted he got it wrong, saying,
some of things that I say will be incorrect, and they should be correct.
He contended that the agency gave billions of dollars to media outlets like Politico and the Associated Press. In reality, USAID's expenditures were standard subscriptions totaling about $44,000 per Politico. The exaggerated figures that Musk cited represented combined subscription costs across the entire federal government. And it's worth pointing out that Politico is a news organization, but it's also a policy tracker and database used by lots of policy wonks.
Yeah.
Musk also suggested that USAID financed research by Eco Health Alliance, a group that conspiracy theorists think is connected to the creation of the COVID-19 virus. And Eco Health Alliance is a global nonprofit that conducts research into diseases and viruses. Who has a better life, cats or dogs? Sadly, cats are often seen as low maintenance, so owners don't give them the mental stimulation. And Eco Health Alliance is a global nonprofit that conducts research into diseases and viruses, and it has received funding from USAID's PREDICT program, which aims to identify and monitor pathogens with pandemic potential. EcoHealth partnered with the Wuhan Institute of Virology to study bat coronaviruses and assess their potential risk to humans, and there is no evidence that EcoHealth purposefully engineered a COVID-19 virus or that it leaked from any of its labs. However, in 2020, the Trump administration terminated a grant from the National Institute of Health because of a dispute with China, and the grant was reinstated after the DHS Inspector General found that Trump did not give the group proper notice. Now, in 2024, the Biden administration suspended funding to EcoHealth over concerns that it failed to, quote, promptly report findings from studies on how well bad coronaviruses grow in mice. And if you're interested in reading the findings about EcoHealth, the Inspector General's 64-page report is still available online, though it appears that Elon Musk has now sacked the Inspector General. So does Musk really have power to freeze funds, bar employees from buildings, and stop Congress from entering government buildings? Well, technically, no. Morocco placed the employees on open-ended administrative leave, which seems like an admission that he does not have explicit authority to fire them. And if Morocco lacks the authority to fire them, then Musk should not have that power either. But CNN reported that according to emails reviewed by the network, Musk's associates sought to use the Department of Treasury payment program to stop the flow of money to USAID. Quote, 4 days after Donald Trump's inauguration, Elon Musk's top lieutenants at the Treasury Department asked its acting secretary, a career civil servant, to immediately shut off all USAID payments using the department's own ultra-sensitive payment processing system. The ask was so out of line with how the Treasury normally operates, it prompted a skeptical reply from David Leverett, then serving as the active Treasury Secretary, who said he did not believe, quote, "We have the legal authority to stop and authorize payments certified by an agency," according to a source familiar with the exchange. That's apparently when Tom Krause, a former tech employee who is now a special government employee at Treasury, told Leverett that he was on thin ice, and Leverett resigned. Although Doge said that Krause demanded read-only access, email showed that Krause and his Doge associates sought sweeping powers that would have allowed them to stop any payment that was not in line with the president's objectives. And an aide to Treasury Secretary Besant wrote via email that Krause and Doge should be given the ability to hold payments. Now, all of this is plainly illegal. As we recently explained, withholding funding violates the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, which requires congressional approval to block discretionary spending. On February 6th, a federal judge approved temporary restrictions on Doge's ability to share sensitive Treasury Department data outside of the agency, but that case did not deal with USAID directly. But during a hearing, Krause reiterated that he only had read-only access over payment systems. Now, President Trump could ask Congress to pass a bill dissolving USAID, but so far he's chosen to bypass Congress entirely. And since the president controls the executive, without meaningful oversight by Congress, Musk will continue to run amok. And Democratic members of Congress tried to subpoena Musk to appear before the Oversight Committee to explain his actions, but their motion failed when not a single Republican voted for it. Republican Senator Susan Collins confirmed that locking up the USAID building and terminating programs created and funded by Congress, quote, is exceeding the president's constitutional authority. However, Collins said that she would still vote to confirm Russ Vought to lead the Office of Management and Budget. Vought believes that the president has almost total control to withhold congressional funds and has advocated against foreign aid. Senator Collins said he's qualified for his position. So
if you don't let go, I'm going to throw it.
Senator Collins also said, quote, "If there are impoundments, I believe it will end up in court, and my hope is the court will rule in favor of the 1974 Impoundment and Budget Control Act." So to recap, a senator believes the president violated the Constitution, but does not want to exercise her constitutional authority to stop it, and she's hoping that someone else will do her job for her. Now, hoping the courts will intervene is a risky play because the Trump administration could ignore court orders, not legally, of course, but there's not much that would stop them. This is one of the many reasons why we're facing a constitutional crisis. Now, it's particularly interesting to see how the media is covering all this. When the story broke that Trump and Musk were targeting USAID, over 505 news sources covered it. But then when plaintiffs lost in court and the White House proceeded to fire 2,000 USAID workers and place thousands more on leave, effectively doing it, less than half of those 505 news sources reporting. And less than 20% of the sources reporting came from the right, where headlines use language like USAID removes 1,600 employees or Trump slashes 2,000 jobs, suggesting that his efforts are part of an everyday corporate downsizing and not mentioning whether it was legal or not. And then in the center and left, which accounted for 50% and 30% respectively, headlines were significantly more likely to use the harsher words like fire, highlighting the punitive nature of Trump's action. And that's why I like to see the news from as many angles as I can, which I do with the help of today's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a website and app developed by a former NASA engineer on a mission to give readers an easy, data-driven, and objective way to read the news. And right now they're offering Legal Eagle viewers 40% off their unlimited access Vantage subscription. You can scan the QR code or use the link in the description to get a discount for a limited time. Because Ground News gathers related articles from around the world and across the political spectrum, so you can see the bias in their coverage. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political bias, factuality, ownership, and source of reporting, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. One of my favorite parts is their bias comparison feature, which highlights specific differences in reporting across the political spectrum. This can be especially helpful when you're reading stories from sources you've never heard of, and there's no telling who owns it or what agenda they might have. I also love their blind spot feature, which shows you stories that are unreported by either side of the political spectrum. Like the story of the plaintiffs that we're covering in this video asking the federal courts to hold the Trump administration in contempt for brazenly defying court orders. And this story was only covered by one right-leaning source. And this type of analysis helps explain why we often talk past each other, and why some people seem hyper-focused on what seems like nonsense or fake news. But that's why Ground News is my favorite way to get the news. And as a legal geek, you can save 40% off the Ground News Vantage subscription by scanning the code on screen or clicking on the link down below. This subscription gives...
Now, if that's something you can manage to do, I'd say go for it. Because these guys have always been pretty on par with their shit.
Do unlimited access to every feature, including the Bias Insight tool and Blind Spot feed. By subscribing, you'll support an independent news platform working to make the media landscape more transparent. So click on the link to get a discount today. And after that, click on this link over here for more Legal Eagle, or I'll see you in court.
Okay, I think we've got one more. We need to see what we're looking
I'll
at.
make sure
Done today, then we're not going to worry about that. I'm going to end the stream and start up the Midday Chill stream, so we can all just hang out and have a good time. So I don't know about y'all, I'm really kind of done listening to that stuff today. I don't want to hear any more of this from Trump.
You lie! You lie! You're lying! Liar! Lies! The filthy earth boy lies! You lies! You lies! Lies! You're lying! I was lying! Lies! The filthy earth boy lies! He lies! Lies! I was lying!
That was a pretty good echo on it. That worked well. Oh, that made that go better than I intended it to. I love it. Alright, everybody. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Gotta get the stream restarted. See you then.